How do you respond?
Yeah.
How do you come back? I'm glad they got their ass kicked because I want to see this.
Well, it kind of shows you, two very similar situations a week apart. We were talking on the show last Wednesday about a team that blew a lead to the Boston Red Sox. Seth Lugo was on the mound, and we were frustrated the way that game went. They lost 6-5. Now, yesterday, a completely different story, right? The game was over. 3 batters into the game, 4 batters into the game, and I think that's the toughest pill to swallow, but then it got much worse. It's one thing to lose 9-4 like they did or whatever the score was on Monday night. 13-3, I think performance-wise, production-wise, was the worst game they've had all year. And I don't know if it's every good team they face or just playoff teams they don't play well against, or maybe it's just been a thing in the second half. I get they've played some really good teams. I mean, Arizona right now is one of the hottest teams in baseball. They saw them shortly to begin the second half. They've seen Minnesota now. And I also just think Target Field is their house of horrors. I mean for the last 7 years, they've been awful there. Now,
outside of Salvi.
Yes, outside of Salvi. But for the most part, that's just been a place they can't win at. And I would like to, believe me, every ounce of me would like to just chalk this up as, hey, it's a bad matchup. And I don't believe that last night ended the season. It's the beginning of the downfall. Because I also look at this. Boston and Seattle are very similar to the Royals. Boston just got swept at home by Houston. Seattle lost by 14 to Detroit. So, yes, it does matter that the Royals have to beat these teams, and today's massive. It's the same type of expectation you had last Wednesday against Boston with Cole Reagans on the mound. You got to win this. But I also look at Minnesota and Cleveland, and the funny thing about it is they could win 90% of their games remaining. Now, I know Cleveland can't really do that because they see the Royals a lot more times on their schedule, but if they just keep winning, the Royals can still get into the playoffs. What's going to matter is Seattle and Boston, and that's what I'm eyeballing each and every night. And every time I watch these teams, there's games like what the Royals had. Seattle last night played just as poorly as the Royals did. Yes, it stings more that it's in the division. Boston, they had a 6-0 lead last night and almost blew it in the 6th inning. They went on to win that game, but they have a bullpen right now that's struggling. So those 3 teams fighting for the final wild card spot, I think, yes, you have to play well. Everybody knows you have to play well and play above 500 or 500 baseball the rest of the way. But 2 of these teams are going to collapse, right? The Royals don't need to play outside there. And that's the frustrating part, too. They don't need to be setting the world on fire. They don't need to sweep Minnesota. They don't need to win 10 in a row. If they tread water, which they've done in the second half, they haven't been, otherworldly. They've beaten bad teams and lost to good ones. If they can continue that trend the rest of the way, take care of the bad teams, tread water against the good ones, I think they can outlast Seattle and Boston.
Well, and it's also at MLB.com. Now, they looked at Fangraphs, so it's really Fangraphs that has the remaining strength of schedule. But MLB.com wrote the story about the remaining contenders and what the strength of schedule looks like the rest of the way. And one of the teams they highlighted was the Royals. And then you just simply go to Fangraphs and say, okay, well, so what does it look like? You highlight the Royals, but what does the rest of the American League look like? And the Royals, the rest of the way, have the 4th hardest schedule in the American League. Cleveland has the 3rd hardest schedule in the American League. Boston has the 2nd. It's the 2nd toughest schedule the rest of the way is Boston. Now, while it's not an imbalanced schedule anymore the way that it used to with your division, they still try to backload some of those divisional games. So Boston still has Yankees and Orioles and Rays and games like that. So they do have a tough schedule remaining, just as the Royals have the Guardians and they have more games against the Twins, and then they still have the Phillies and the Braves, and they've got some games left against some good teams. The Royals have the 4th toughest schedule remaining in the American League. Red Sox have the 2nd toughest. Guardians have the 3rd. Minnesota has the 8th. So Minnesota's right in the middle. Right in the middle. They've played a lot of their tougher non-divisional teams early on, and they struggled in those games, and they weren't winning a lot of games. Now, although it's against the Guardians and the Royals, so it's not like they're beating up on the White Sox, but their schedule flips a little bit. And it's one of the reasons why Minnesota, according to Fangraphs, has like a 90% chance of making the playoffs, is because their schedule lightens up while the Royals schedule, the Guardians schedule, the Red Sox schedule really kicks in, And those are the teams that Minnesota is chasing in the Guardians, and the two teams behind them to lose out on the wild card. They'd have to lose out to both of them to miss the wild card. But the Mariners are sitting there with the sixth toughest schedule. So they're right close to the middle. The Royals just simply have to go out and take care of business because teams around them will also be playing tough teams. And this is not the Red Sox and Mariners and Twins have the easiest schedule remaining, and the Royals have the toughest. No, they're teams around them. I mean, the American League Central is not what it used to be, to where the Guardians are leading the Central. They've got the best record in baseball, and they still got all these games against the American League Central. Well, now it makes them, the third toughest schedule in the American League because they are playing the Twins. They are playing the Royals, still left to go this year. So they'll have their work cut out for them, which means that they simply have to play better baseball.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to play tough teams, but you can't play tough teams and then play sloppy baseball. And last night was sloppy baseball, and that has been a theme for the last week of this team in this stretch when it started last Monday of this is going to be a crucial stretch. They have gone 2-3, 2-5?
Yeah.
In that in those games, and we'll see what Cole Reagans does today against Louis Varland, who had a 5 ERA at AAA and has a 6.5 ERA in the majors, and will go out there and throw 5 innings, 1 run, probably today. Like, Thursday headlines: Louis Varland pitches a gym. Louis Varland pitches like he was 23 again.
Is that the Twins guy going tonight?
Yeah.
In
Today.
fairness,
I'm going to look up his over-unders here on strikeouts, innings pitched, all that.
You're going to go over
Rip
on.
oh, yeah.
Good thing is he's not a soft-tossing lefty. He throws incredibly hard.
Oh, thank
true.
God. There we go. Good.
Yeah,
That's true,
he
yeah.
does
And
throw
for the
the
right
It's
side.
more
Yeah,
difficult, so we should
Like,
we should
honestly,
actually throw
good.
better.
Yeah.
Good. Let's do it. Let's see what happens.
The
on
Twins
this
were
one.
actually counting on him early on. Did he get shelled to start the season, or
Yeah.
what happened? Because
he had like a 9 ERA in April.
he was supposed to be one of their saving graces.
He pitched in the bowl or in the postseason last year.
Yeah, and he's faced only one Royal, and that Royal's Hunter Renfroe. And Renfroe's 2 for 3 against him.
Let's eat.
So Renfroe
Let's
ripping
slump.
the over.
Let's eat Renfroe. Total bases for Renfroe. I'm going over 2.5 on that. Come on, man. He's batting 5th in the lineup today. But at least the Royals have Adam Frazier leading off today, playing second base because
You're
they
kidding.
need-
No. You're being facetious, correct?
No, I'm serious.
I was about to make a joke and say, everyone say "I" if we're done with the Adam Frazier experiment. I.
No, he's leading off and playing second base with his 278 on base percentage.
Dog.
Paul
what
DeYoung's-
are we doing here?
DeYoung's in for Garcia today at third base.
Fine.
So he's
I'm actually fine with that.
Yeah,
That's,
I am too,
I'm
yeah.
golden with that.
And that's where it comes back to. I mean, I for one don't like the move to lead off Frazier, but if Garcia's not playing, who's leading off?
MJ Melendez at this point. I don't give a hoot nor a holler. That's how far I've come in this.
Look at you from
A hoot and a holler.
listen to that over the weekend.
You want MJ driving in runs though?
Just playing around and carrying it on.
I want anyone to get on base.
How's your commode?
I want something.
Do you want something, Sterling?
I don't know if I do or not anymore.
I like this breaking news.
You do?
This strategy. Well, not. I don't like it
You-
personally.
wow.
I don't
but
know. I can't
I
see.
like
Jesus.
this.
Kay-
I like
Kay's holding
getting
up.
fed this information.
Jesus.
Oh,
Jack,
no.
You like it? All right, from Adam Teicher, Juwan Taylor went down at practice and has just been carted off the practice field. Now, let's search for more information if we can. Was it the front of the cart or the back of the cart?
That is a big deal.
Not great.
Not great, Bob.
Oh, front of the golf cart.
Okay.
Front's good. Well, better.
Yeah.
Usually linemen, that is great, better because of the fact that anything with legs, they are not
Yeah.
letting them have a
Yeah.
bended knee. It's got to be.
Yep. It's like
Raised
boys to
and-
men. If they're down on
I was
bended
trying
knee,
to
then
figure out a way to not.
no, it's fine. It's all
line
good.
up that,
It's all
but-
good. They're hoping that Juwan Taylor will go from a boy to a man when it comes this year. They've already got Wanya Morris on the
I
line.
know that you beat me to it.
There you go. Matt Derrick tweeting out, didn't see what happened, but Chiefs right tackle Juwan Taylor just left practice in the front seat of the cart. Okay. So it's a little bit better. And especially if I didn't see what happened, it's not like in the middle of this drill, Juwan Taylor goes down,
Right.
trainers are looking at his knee, he's helped off the field,
Everyone's surrounding him.
gets on the cart. gets in the back of the cart and riding up, and he looks pretty sad and mad and frustrated. Those are different stories. We can hope. Fingers crossed. Like I said, the best news out of training camp is no news. It's nothing on the scroll at the bottom line. It's nothing at all. It's just no news whatsoever. All right, we'll take a time out. What do you want to say, Sterling? You want to weigh in more on Louis Varland?
No, you're correct. Yeah, I do. I'm frustrated and angry watching the Royals play right now. But K-Dog says, Matt Derrick said front seat of the cart, as you're saying. Just wanted to get more confirmation.
Yep, there you go. So he has left practice today. Jawan Taylor has. Wanya Morris still battling the bone bruise. And Chu Godric and Lucas Niang battling ability to play in the NFL, or their lack thereof. Which is unfortunate.
2 more
right
days
now.
in St. Joe.
There you go.
Get out of there.
Yes, that's right. 2 more preseason games. Although, by the way, NFL Network last night, after they were replaying one of the preseason games, I can't remember. It was in the 7th inning of the Royals game where I just turned it on NFL Network and decided to watch that while the Royals were in the background. The NFL insiders were going around on this new trend in the NFL. As we take a timeout, you guys want to guess what the new trend in the NFL is that they were talking about in the NFL Insiders, bouncing it back and forth about what coaches are doing now?
Getting perms.
No, you would think, but that's not what it is. Nope, big worm, big perm.
Getting mullets.
Not mullets either. Dylan?
So a big trend going around NFL coaches. Is it,
Body kneecaps. Body kneecaps.
Anybody have a serious guess?
is it scheme or outside of football related?
It has to do with preseason. There's a new...
Sitting their starters.
Not playing starters.
No.
Playing starters.
Yes. Coaches are now realizing they should start playing some of their starters, and quarterbacks are now playing in the preseason more than they have in past years. The coaches are now talking. I talked to a coach this week that said, if we're spending all this time getting our other guys ready, the quarterback is the most important position. We need to put him in the game and get him ready as well. I don't know. It's a copycat league. Maybe more people should copycat Andy Reid. I don't know. Like, we're not playing our starters at all. Like, we're not going to play quarterbacks. We're not going to play our starters. Now there's a new trend where quarterbacks are going to start playing more in preseason games. It's crazy. It's a nutty thing. I don't think it's going to work, guys.
Maybe just follow Hoover. Just do whatever the Super Bowl winning teams do, and apparently it works out for
funny,
them.
like,
So
Andy Reid's like, new thing? Like, what are you talking? My quarterback's about to play 3 series this Saturday.
Belichick just had an interview where he was like, Tom demanded to play preseason games because you're
that's
trying to get in rhythm with the receivers, like
That's
good
exactly
quarterbacks
right.
are.
But the concept of, well, we play our other starters to get ready for the game. Our quarterback's the most important position, but we don't have him out there getting ready. That doesn't make a whole lot. I just laughed at this new trend is that coaches are now playing more of their quarterbacks more often in preseason.
Here's the other thing I wonder, Jason, is less preseason games means, less money for the owners. So I wonder if there were some conversations with some coaches of, hey, you know how you sit our players and no one shows up?
Yeah.
Maybe start them for a quarter so we can get some seats.
Hey, and great for the Chiefs that their third preseason game is on the road.
Right.
Because that's the one to where it's like, if
Who
you're going to
cares?
go to a game, no thank you.
Right.
Second preseason game is the one to go to, and it's the one home game they have this year, where Patrick Mahomes will probably play the entire first quarter. The starters will probably play the entire first half. But you'll see a little bit more of what you'll see as close as you'll get to a regular game until September 5th will be this Saturday. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. that are there covering it didn't really see what happened. So it doesn't seem to be some big, like, in the middle of a play, Jawan Taylor goes down in a heap, and the trainers come out there, and he's helped off the field and is in the back of the – no. Didn't see what happened, but he left practice on a cart in the front seat of the cart. If you want a reprieve from that, you can look at some football porn, some Patrick Mahomes to Xavier Worthy, a couple of deep shots there that Mahomes just – I mean, it's one of those to where Xavier Worthy's like 15 yards down the field, and Mahomes just throws it high, and Worthy just runs, and by the time he gets to the ball, he's like 7 yards separated from the cornerback. Like, I love the fact that the first play was to Xavier Worthy on Saturday. Like, the first play was designed for Xavier Worthy. Sucks that, you know, they had a defense that they designed to roll the safety over the top, maybe because they thought the first play was going to be a deep shot to Xavier Worthy. But that's just funny, just watching him, like, break free on a crosser that Mahomes doesn't throw the crosser. He just throws it as if it's like a corner route, and then Xavier Worthy adjusts to the ball, and by the time he gets there, it's 7 yards separated.
You want to know why teams won't try and press just Xavier Worthy and throw him down the whole – you know, that one play was great by Josh Williams, but you know why you're not going to say that every single game by every single corner? Because of what you saw at practice today.
Yeah, because – and there's a couple of those. And because if you miss – if you come at the king, you best not miss. I'm not saying he's the king, but if you come at the speed racer, you best not miss at the beginning unless you're Reek Woolen or somebody that has as close to catch-up speed in the NFL for Xavier Worthy that you're going to see. Unless you're a guy like that, then, you know, maybe you can press and then run with him if you happen to get off balance a little bit and miss. But, you know, you can get a little reprieve from – you know, the concerns of Jawan Taylor by watching some of the videos that are out there of Mahomes to Xavier Worthy.
I like Speed Racer nickname, by the way. Remember Speed Racer, the old show?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. What was he? Was he number 5?
I'll take your word for it.
I don't remember.
what
In the
number he
car?
was.
You remember Speed Racer? No? It's been a long
I
time.
don't remember what number he was, but I...
Xavier Worthy should change to that number was my point.
He should.
Whatever, and then go as Speed Racer. That'd be pretty cool.
He absolutely should. So we've talked about the rough couple of nights for the Royals on Monday and Tuesday night, and we'll see what Cole Reagans does today. They need to be Cole Reagans' ace out there on the mound. Need to be Cole Askins? Raskins? Dylan, Jack, Sterling. They need Cole Raygun. They need Cole Raygun today.
Absolutely.
Raygun needs to be back
Cole
out
B.
there.
Girl Raygun.
Cole B. Girl. They need a girl out there. Well, just not just a girl. They need Cole. They need their ace. Cole Ace.
Zero
Ray
points
Gun.
for Raygun. 0 earned runs for Reagans.
There it is.
Boom.
Cole Raygun.
He's a
on the
doctor
mound.
of movement.
I like it.
Doctor of movement, you know, on his pitches.
Pitches move. I mean, all of his breaking balls there.
He looks vaguely Australian. Like, if you told me he was Australian and he didn't talk, I'd be like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I've never looked at him and said, vaguely Australian. Maybe New Zealand, but vaguely Australian.
You know how many, like,
See him.
like girls have a lucky out here of Halloween because it's just close enough. How many B-girl Raygun outfits or costumes is there going to be this Halloween?
I may go as Raygun.
I mean, I might. Yeah, I agree.
But
The
we
whole
need,
show, all 4 of us, we all
we
go
need-
as Raygun.
we need Cole Raygun on the mound
We do.
today. We need him out there being that Raygun. So I was looking at the MLB.com put out their straw poll for the MVP. They updated this yesterday. 45 votes. Aaron Judge still leading in the American League. But Bobby Witt got 12. Double than what he got at the All-Star break when they did the straw poll. So, I mean, he's gone from 6 to 12.
Well, did Gunnar Henderson probably have some of that?
He got some. Soto.
He probably stole the.
But Gunnar got 0.
Yeah, that's my point. He probably
Yes.
stole Gunnar and Soto's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. They're all going to Bobby Witt. And I'd have to go back and look specifically at what that was when they did that. But Aaron Judge got 33 of the 45 first place votes. Bobby Witt got 12 of the 45 first place votes. Now they did the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Sure.
To rank them 1 through 5, but listed specifically the first place votes. Shohei Ohtani got more first place votes than Aaron Judge, but more players in the National League got first place votes than the American League. There were 3 different players in the National League that got first place votes.
Yeah, this is really the best 2 players in baseball in the American League this year.
Yep.
It's very reminiscent of Mike Trout, Miguel Cabrera, best hitter versus best overall young player.
So I wanted to look at it, and I was just like trying to break it down. Like, all right, trying to break it down by like age, original team, drafted, traded, free agent, international free agent, like these 10 MVP candidate players. So in the American League, it's Judge and Witt, Soto and Gunnar. Do you guys have a guess as to who came in 5th in the American League as to MVP votes at MLB.com and their 45 media member straw poll that they put out?
Is it a pitcher?
It is not a pitcher.
Oh,
It's
I was thinking Colossae or Scuball. Colossae, should he start getting some love, by the way?
it's a hitter who the Royals
Jose Ramirez.
Jose Ramirez is 5th. And then in the National League, Shohei Ohtani's number 1. Not a surprise.
Yeah.
But getting the second most votes is a second baseman who's had an amazing season. But Ketel Marte for
Yeah,
the
deserving.
Diamondbacks got 6 first-place votes and then 2 first-place votes. I mean, he's a stud player. I'm not sure I would give him first-place vote over Shohei, but he's been amazing this year. Ellie De La Cruz. I mean, he's got almost double stolen bases than the next
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
But he's got 2 first-place votes. But Shohei got 37. Marte got 6. Ellie De La Cruz got 2. And then the last 2 in the National League, Bryce Harper and then Francisco Lindor, rounded out the top 5 for the National League. MVP
I don't know
votes.
if I've done this yet, so I hate to interject, but have I told my Ketel Marte story
No.
from when I was down at in Arlington for the All-Star game?
No, I
no,
want to hear
I
it.
wanna hear
So
this,
we
yeah.
were there early for batting practice, right? And a lot of the Derby guys were coming up. Pete Alonso was up there, and he had a couple that were in the front row. I mean, just hitting the ball hard. Bobby Wood Jr. had a couple of ones that he crushed. And then this guy I can't recognize walks. I was far enough away, and they didn't really show it up on the screen at this point. And he just starts hitting them like second deck, right? Just over and over and over again. And then I finally get a glimpse of it's Ketel Marte. And there's people that are walking it. Like the way the Ranger Stadium is built is you have where the left field bleachers were, there's a plaza entrance there where the doors were completely open, fans are walking in. And he hit a ball over the first deck, over the second deck, out the door. Out as people were walking in, and you could see people run in different directions because somebody had alerted them that a ball was flying in the direction. After that, he does the exact same thing. So then they just stop. They tell everybody to stop walking in because there is a guy hitting the ball legitimately out of the stadium. Then he switches to the left side and proceeds to hit it second. Wasn't in the Derby.
I mean,
Like
he's
Dude.
it's unreal what's happened with him because he made one All-Star game in his career before
Yeah.
this year. And he went from like hitting 10 or 11 home runs to last year he hit 25. This year he's already got 30, like 28,
Yeah.
29, 30, something like that. I mean, it's like,
Crushed the Royals too at Kaufman.
yeah, I mean, he's gone from, a nice player to
Superstar.
the second most votes in the National League MVP right now as a 30-year-old about to turn 31.
So in 2019, that's when he broke out. 25 years old, he broke out 2019, 4th in the MVP vote, All-Star one time, as you mentioned, batted .329 and OPS
was like-
90 with 32 home runs.
That was his career year.
Yeah,
and
wait,
then since
he was
then, he's just
25.
been- yeah,
And then 2020 was COVID year.
Yeah.
Didn't do much, but he was fine, but he was
Yeah,
a
it's-
contact hitter.
right.
21, he came back, batted .318, but kind of more of a contact hitter,
Yeah.
14 home runs. 2022 was bad.
Yeah, he wasn't.
He was
wasn't-
really bad in
wasn't that good
22.
last year. Corbin Carroll picked up the slack
Yeah.
for Ketel Marte. and
Well,
his
no,
struggles.
last year was good. That's 23. 23
Yeah,
was
yes,
good.
okay, 22
23 he was
okay.
back to being good.
Well, it's one of the reasons why they lost 100 games. Then
25
Whatever.
25 home runs,
Whatever.
844 OPS. He was
Yeah.
great. Then this year he's back. I mean, he's been such an up and down guy. Like you saw 25, you're like, this is a blossoming superstar. And then a couple of years of struggles, and then really 23 and 24, he bounced back to being the guy that he was in 29. He just took the COVID year. Almost feels like it just really hurt him, and it took him a couple of years to get that back.
Yeah. The out of the 10, do you know how many are still on the original team? So 5 in the American League, 5 in the National League, still on their original team.
Marte was Seattle originally, so
He
not
was-
him.
Came over in the Gene Secura deal.
Wild trade, Gene Segura. That's wild. So Bobby Witt, Gunnar Henderson, same team. Aaron Judge, same team. Juan Soto, not same team. And
Jose
then
Ramirez.
Jose Ramirez. So 4 out of the 5 in the AL, same
Which
team.
is crazy, by the way.
NL, Ketel Marte, no. Shohei, no. Bryce Harper, no.
Ellie is same
Ellie,
team.
yes. And then who was the
Lindor.
Lindor, no.
So 5 out of 10. You got it right. It is 5 out of 10. It's just interesting that 4 of the 5 are in the American League, in Judge and Witt and Gunnar and Jose Ramirez, and only 3 of those guys were drafted. Only 3 of those guys were not even drafted on the. I don't even mean like on the original team, like I mean like drafted drafted on the original team, which is Aaron Judge, which is Bobby Witt, which is Gunnar Henderson.
Because Ellie De La Cruz, what was he? Was he
Ellie De La Cruz was a
international
national free agent for like
Oh,
$5,000.
Signed for nothing.
Yeah, it was absurd. Like, I think Jose Ramirez, Ellie De La Cruz, and Ketel Marte were like a combined $65,000 in international free. And I think 50 of that was Jose Ramirez. Because Marte was next to nothing. Ellie De La Cruz was like peanuts compared to what other guys were getting at that time, because he was a shorter, scrawny kid. Then he signed, and he grew like 4 inches over the next year and a half. And he just started hitting the ball 100, miles. And he turned into Ellie De La Cruz as a 22-year-old. But there's 2 free agent signings, Shohei and Bryce Harper. And then 3 of those guys were acquired via trade. Juan Soto, Francisco Lindor, and Ketel Marte were acquired via trade. I was just looking at it just to see, like, okay, from the Royals' perspective, how do you, get – and they got Bobby Witt. Which, by the way, as long as he ends up in the top 3 this year of MVP, the Royals are getting a PPI draft pick next year. So that'll be pick number 31 or 32 at best. Or, at worst, I should say. So, the Mariners got a PPI 2 years ago for Julio Rodriguez, and that was like pick 28 or 29 because of the qualified offers and things like that. That was like pick 28 or 29. And then last year, there were 2 of them. Arizona got pick 31 for Corbin Carroll, and Baltimore got pick 32 for Gunnar Henderson. He won Rookie of the Year, and he came up to start the season.
Yep.
Both of those guys started the year. You have to either win Rookie of the Year or finish in top 3 of Cy Young or MVP before arbitration eligible, while being a guy that played your entire rookie year with the big league club while being a top 100 prospect. You have to show up in 3 or more top 100 prospects of like the bigger ones.
Yeah.
You have to then start the season with the big, or at least have 175 accrued. So you better be up within 2 weeks. And then you have to either win Rookie of the Year or before arbitration be top 3 Cy Young or MVP. Bobby Witt's going to be top 2 MVP. He's not arbitration eligible. The Royals are going to get a draft pick next year at the end of the first round.
Thanks to Bobby again.
And thanks for the Royals bringing him up early. It was like, you know what, let's play the manipulation game. Well, they didn't have to play the manipulation game. Then they signed him long term. Now they're going to get like the 31st pick in the draft next year because of that, because he's going to finish in the top 3 at least. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. Anybody else besides Bobby eligible for PPI? Quick search. I think there's definitely going to be another one besides the Royals. I think Baltimore's going to get another pick because Colton Cowser is the heavy favorite for Rookie of the Year, and he broke camp with the big league club. So Colton Cowser was a top 50 prospect. I mean, top 20 prospect. So I think the Orioles back-to-back years are going to get an extra draft pick for starting a prospect, breaking camp with that. And then in the National League, Paul Skeens is leading for Rookie of the Year, but he doesn't qualify for PPI because he came up late. Jackson Merrill does, and he's in second for Rookie of the Year. So if he finishes strong and wins Rookie of the Year, it'd be Arizona and Baltimore getting back-to-back picks by doing that.
I like playing Yahtzee. You sounded like you were saying Yahtzee
Sorry.
at first, and I miss playing Yahtzee.
Worked 10 years with Bob Valvano, Jimmy V's brother. He did the show right before me in Louisville, but he's, paisan and always used to, so great. He goes, the great thing about being Italian, he said, you can say really anything, and if you end it with a little fist pump and go, hey, you know what I'm talking about? It'll make it sound sexual. It's like, I'm going to go get the oil changed, if you know what I mean. I'm, got to do a little homework, if you know what I'm talking about. It's like, and I'm like, you know what? I never thought about that. But you're right.
Oil change
But
is
you're
a
right.
real good one.
Yes.
Oil change makes me think.
Borgonzi's like, yeah, I got to go talk to the media, if you know what I'm talking about. No, I'm actually going to talk to them. I'm going to do a press conference. Yeah. I'm going to stand at a podium and talk into a mic, if you know what I mean. Yeah, you're actually going to do it. Yeah, that's right. I am actually going to do an interview. I'll be asked questions that'll come up about Harrison Butker, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, and JOK in Cleveland signing a contract extension today, 3 years, $39 million, $25 million guaranteed when we talk about Nick Bolton, if he gets a contract extension or not. Also, hey, Juju's out there. Any interest in Juju? Any interest in trading for a Judon or
That's more.
CD?
I would want that more than.
Agreed.
By the way,
No Juju Judon.
it surprises me the amount of people that have a platform of some degree in sports and don't get like a very small, easy, but seems to be a bigger detail. What I mean is, a dude down in Dallas has like 40,000 followers. Matthew Judon, right? $6.5 million is, maybe being traded because of the dispute there in New England. And he tweets out, great value for the Cowboys. You absolutely do this if you only have to pay $6.5 million for Judon. That's the point. Nobody trading for him is going to pay him $6.5 million.
Hey, why don't you trade for Hassan Reddick, too?
It's great value if all you got to pay him is the contract he won't play under.
Hey, what about CeeDee Lamb, right? He wants to play in that contract.
I don't know why that,
right?
yes, Matthew Judon is great value for anybody at $6.5 million. That's the point as to why he's not playing for the Patriots right now and why there's a potential trade is because he wants a new deal.
Hey, what about Brandon Ayuk? Yeah, that's a good contract, too, huh?
Great deal if you can get Brandon
Yeah.
Ayuk for like $12 million. Who wouldn't want to do
Listen, let's just trade for him, and we'll work out the contract stuff after.
that? Yeah.
What are we, the Jets?
Never,
what I'm saying. Look at
never
how-
been an issue.
It's been working great for them.
Never been an issue. He's now demanded a second trade. A trade from his second team.
The Eagles have a chance to do the funniest thing ever. They get him back.
Trade him back?
They trade
Or
him
for him
They
back?
trade
For
him
less
back.
than what
for
they-
less than they got. That'd be the most Howie Roseman chess move.
He's the best. I mean, he's absolutely the best. Oh, the Jets, yeah.
Well, I don't know. Aaron Rodgers did say he wants Reddick to be a Jet. Cites fun ride ahead. Maybe a
that's gonna
fun
be a
ride.
fun ride.
Is it in Egypt a fun ride? Or
Could be. Maybe
in the-
he's going to buy him a new car.
It's the off season. It's the
Yeah.
off season. That's the fun ride ahead.
You
for
sign
the
with
Jets.
you sign with this team, I'll buy you a new car. There's going to be a fun ride.
But you know what you should do is call out the guy in the media that told you where he was going to be during the camps and mini camps and stuff, and then say that the guy who's holding out for a second time is doing everything right and following all the rules and staying in communication while he's in Japan.
That's right.
That's what you should do as like a competent organization and head coach.
100%.
I wish Adam Gase was still the head coach of the
just-
Jets right now to see what the entire debacle would
I just
be.
don't understand how you make the trade without the contract done.
Right.
Especially when the reports came out when Hassan Reddick was holding out and was it was like, hold on, the reports came out that they talked with Hassan Reddick and his agents before making the trade, and he turned down the parameters of the deal. And then they traded for him. I mean, what did you shocked that he's going to not play under the he already said no. That's not a contract I will sign. I don't believe you. We're going to trade for you. I think it's different playing there in Philly. You're a Jet now. You'll sign this contract to be a Jet, okay? You got a chance to play with Aaron Rodgers, not that Jalen Hurts fella.
You were playing for Super Bowls. Now you're
Yeah.
playing to try and make the playoffs.
That's right.
All right, baby.
Better sign this contract.
So it's great. By the way, it was a third round draft pick, so it wasn't like a fifth or sixth. It was a third round draft pick in 2026. but it can become a second rounder if Reddick plays 67.5% of the defensive snaps and has 10+ sacks.
What does it become if he never plays for that team?
It'd be a third rounder then, right? It'd still be the third. My point is, but what if the Eagles traded for him back and then he hit all those numbers as an Eagle? Does that still count? Would it still be the second rounder because he hit those numbers, just not with the Jets?
I don't know. They trade him back for a fourth rounder, and then he hits those numbers, and then they get a second rounder for him. So they keep Hassan Reddick, sign him to the deal, and they give up a fourth rounder but get a second rounder and Hassan Reddick. That would be chess, not checkers, and that would be the Jets playing checkers against chess. But obviously that's not going to happen. But also it just is
So Jets.
It's so it's honestly surprising there would be an NFL team that would make the trade without the deal done. Like the Steelers are not going to make the trade for Ayuk unless the contract is done before they make the deal.
Oh, there's the whole Patriots thing.
Right. I mean, it's like that's you're not trading for Judon unless the contract is done. But you trade for Hassan Reddick on the hope that you'll get something done when he's already turned down the parameters of what you offered to begin with.
Well, I think we saw last year before they had traded for Rodgers was that it was a mode of desperation for them, that they were tired of losing, and once they traded for Rodgers, the clock started on that. Then they lost a year because he didn't play barely last year except for 4 snaps or whatever it was. So now it was a situation where they were going after Hassan Reddick, and it was, I'm not going to sign that. Well, we'll figure it out later. Once you get into our locker room, be around Aaron Rodgers, you know that we are serious about winning here, as if he wasn't in Philadelphia. And maybe they thought it'd work out. But honestly, I mean, I'm curious who has the upper hand right now, because the Jets, if they're not going to trade him, which I still don't think they will, I mean, then Reddick, is he just not going to play after sacking 11 and a half times this past year? Like, is he just going to sit out the rest of the year?
So
I don't know.
He's only, I think, shown up one time, and that was to his introductory news press conference. That's it. He's been fined $1.75 million all told in lost money from the Jets. But Robert Saleh says it's not a distraction.
So if they trade him, does he have to pay those fines even? Like, would you? I wouldn't.
question.
I would not be paying those fines.
It's like getting a speeding ticket in a different state. You just don't
the
have to pay.
It's like the IRS.
I go do the show in Louisville and have to park on campus from time to time. Get a parking ticket.
Right.
I'm not paying that.
Exactly. The exact same situation.
Zero chance you're getting that $20 from me. Nope. Or the other $20, or the $20 after that. That $20 you ain't getting either. Sorry, just not happening.
What's
Don't
crazy
care.
is everyone thought that the other New York team was so dysfunctional during Hard Knocks.
Right.
And could you imagine if this was all recorded? I mean,
Why-
if they're in the same building, damn near, we could have.
Like, I know that Ray Gun did not cost the Olympics breakdancing. It had already been decided that it was not going to be in the 2028 Olympics, but it is fun just to say, like, you know, that was so bad that they decided to eliminate breakdancing in the Olympics. But I do wonder if the Giants giving out that much of what was taking place behind the scenes, if any other team will go, yeah, we'll do it now.
Yeah.
Like, there was so much given away that's probably the only time you'll get access like that.
It's the Tom Brady roast. Tom
Yeah,
Brady
right.
roast was so good
Yeah.
that no one of Tom Brady's level is ever going to do that again unless they forget about it.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Giants. No
Forget
one's
about
ever going to
it.
be like, yeah, let's let everyone look at how we talk about our best players when we
Yes.
don't even want them talking
Right.
and hearing this when we do agent talk.
The only thing that, well, I shouldn't say the only thing, but one of the things that came from that I thought was interesting is beforehand they were so high on Malik Neighbors, they were thinking about taking him over Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
So when they come out and go, Neighbors is the guy that we really, really wanted, they can back that up because going into the draft, they're going Neighbors.
Good point.
Neighbors.
Sure.
If
Yeah.
we get Neighbors, it's Neighbors. So that is one time
By
where
the
you're
way,
like,
not to side note here, Jason, not to toot our own horns here, though, but remember who we drafted for Josh Kaiser in his league of, he had Drake May as the option or Malik Neighbors, and we gave him Malik Neighbors.
gave him Malik Neighbors.
So we'll have to-
Did not give him the foot injury so far in
No,
camp.
no.
We'll see. But
Well, we'll
yeah,
see.
did I
It looks great.
Do you
I tweeted
want to
out
side with the Giants, though? That's the
Yeah.
real issue. Do you want to take that side?
Yeah, I don't know. I tweeted out the day of the draft that when Marvin Harrison went, it was like, in parentheses, whispers, if Malik Neighbors' dad played in the NFL, he'd be the number one wide receiver taken.
Here's how-
Runs away from the
Yeah.
conversation.
No, that's a good take.
You
And also,
know?
here's the other point is that he's so good that people knew all the lineage and all the hype about Marvin
Yeah.
Harrison and still had to take another look at Malik Neighbors
Yeah,
just in case.
I think he's so freaking
gonna
good,
be
man.
really
I mean, I'm not walking away from Marvin Harrison
No,
Jr.
no, no,
I'm not
absolutely
saying-
not.
It's not a one's awesome, the other one sucks.
He was like the clear-cut best receiver in the draft, and then as soon as started watching Malik Neighbors, that's
and
when
seeing
people
what he
realize,
was doing.
whoa.
It's like, oh wait, this is different.
By the way, the last time the Giants were in the playoffs, or the last time the Daniel Jones was healthy, they made the playoffs and won a playoff game. So just saying. Just saying. And by the way, he's got a beard now. Daniel Jones has a beard now. And
good-looking beard.
Yes.
I will say, it's a good-looking beard.
If they do that thing again in New York with the quarterback, everyone's trying to run out of town, and the coach, everyone's trying to run out of town, and all they need is one receiver and that goofy quarterback, and they're going to go on a run. They'll have some witch magic or something if they're doing that again with
Go ahead, sir.
Neighbors and
Just,
Jones.
I was on Daniel Jones's Pro Football Reference page, and
As one
usually does. So we know about the nickname Danny Dimes.
Danny
right?
Dimes,
We know.
baby.
Do you know his other nickname? Danny Dimes. And he has one other nickname that I've never
Danny
heard.
Pennies.
It's incredible. This is maybe the new best nickname in the NFL.
Is it anything near Nick Foles?
Imagine white chocolate, but Vanilla Vic. His other nickname is Vanilla
I've
Vic.
heard that before.
I have not heard.
You've
that.
heard that
Good
before.
Yeah.
God.
It was after.
I think I had. It was when he had that long run and
Yes.
tripped and fell.
Yes.
That's
That's
great.
right. It's a
Very-
ironical.
He is fast.
Yes.
He had a 708
ironic
rushing
Laughing
yards.
at
Mhm.
situation, not with. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I
that's
like
calling a
Vani-
big guy tiny.
Vanilla
Yeah, they're
Vic.
calling a
you
tiny
go.
guy. What's up, big guy? Huh? What's up, biggin? What's up there, fella? Yeah. So
Vanilla Vic,
Vanilla
baby.
Vic is unbelievable. I kind of want to call him that only now.
Oh,
Instead of
yeah.
Danny Dimes. Like Danny Dimes is like, oh my God, this guy didn't miss a completion in the preseason. This guy's Danny Dimes.
So you're getting close because what they do is when he has a poor performance, they sarcastically refer to him
Yes,
as Vanilla
that's right.
Vic and all the Danny Dimes,
Great
Danny
performances.
Pennies.
Danny Dimes. Yes.
You know what? I'm
yeah.
now rooting for the guy.
Yeah.
Now rooting for the guy.
Yeah, I hope another team will do what the Giants did in the offseason because I thought it was really good. But we'll hear from Dave Tobe, speaking of not very good, and that was the Chiefs special teams on Saturday. Dave Tobe's going to start off the press conference here very soon, here in just a couple of seconds, and it'll be the Chiefs special teams coordinator, and then we'll hear from the assistant coaches for the Chiefs, and Colin, Embry, Heck, Merritt, and then assistant GM Mike Borgonzi will be at the podium as well, talking about some contracts, etc. So in St. Joe, second to last practice for the Chiefs. They'll have what will probably be a quicker practice tomorrow. Here's Dave Tobe.
Obviously, we made a mistake in the game, ended up costing us, but it's a great learning experience for us. We had really good.
Common misperception maybe about the kickoff being a live ball in that situation?
Well, we had a couple touchbacks early in the game, and he just assumed it was a touchback. Again, that was going to roll out of the back of the end zone, and it didn't. So it was a great learning experience for everybody.
What was the biggest concern about the coverage that you saw Saturday?
Too aggressive. We were running. You got to go down. It's way different now. Like you got to go down there and build a wall, kind of, build a wall just like a defense would. And it's the same thing. You can't afford to have two guys running, one guy running right, one guy running left, because that thing will pop you. We had a couple guys over pursue and out of position, and the kid did a great job returning. I mean, it was an unbelievable return on that first one against good players.
What's the NFL, with the rules committee, you guys are all looking at this. What was the upshot from week one?
The upshot was the referees and with the rules, we have to get more consistent across the board. It's one of the things that we talked about is, calling the offsides more and, things like just making sure we're all on the same page. We're trying, we got 2 more games to get this done, before the start of the regular season, and we're working the things out pretty quickly.
Return kicks on Saturday night.
Same guys that you saw. We didn't get a lot. Like I said, there was a lot of touchbacks. So I still want to see other guys. I wanted to see Reese, but he didn't practice today. He might not be available. We'll see. But I still want to see. There's a lot of guys I want to see. We've got time, to do that.
Dave, is this a lot for guys to process in a pretty short amount of period of time? Does the significance of this change paid off?
It's a lot, but we've practiced it a lot too. So we made the one mistake, so I think we're still ahead of the game, as far as how we're going here. Yeah, oh yeah, there's no question. There's going to be some unintended things that happen, and I think that's where the addendums will come in, as the season progresses. Hopefully sooner than later, we get this thing kind of ironed out.
The league already has made that a change that you can't put the ball sideways on the tee. I mean, are you expecting more? How much did that affect maybe your strategy?
Yeah, we tried it. We wanted to see what it was all about. We wanted to see if there was something to it, and there is. There is something to it. So, everybody's experimenting right now, and we're trying to come up with the best, things for the regular season.
Coach, is there anything that's expressed that he'd like to return?
Who?
Worthy has expressed. Is he able to return punts?
Yeah, he's able. He's able. He's probably one of our better guys. But the injury to Hollywood, kind of changed things a little bit there with his status. So we just said, let's keep him out this game. We still got 2 more games. We might get him in there, but if not, he's done a lot in practice to show us that he can do it.
Xavier said you showed him some videos of Devin Hester.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously you can learn a lot from him, but what would you like for him to take from that video?
Just the fact I talked about how much Devin Hester worked at it, and how much he worked on catching and the vision and watch tape, and that was the things that I wanted him to get from that.
Is there anything that you learned from the game situation that you guys couldn't rep out in practice on those kickoffs?
No, just the game speed and the guys barrel assing down at you to tackle you, that makes a difference. And then you got to make smart decisions out there, and it was a great learning experience for everybody. And I think we created a training tape for the whole league, really, to be honest. So.
Dave, what did it mean to you to have Devin go in the Hall of Fame, and what was it like to be up there?
It was so special. I had my sunglasses on because I was crying most of the time, and my wife told me to take them off, so I took them off, and I'm glad the camera didn't really zoom in on me because they said I was crying. I was so happy for him and proud of him. It was real special.
And for that to be at that position, that's a big distinction, isn't it? The kind of breakthrough.
It's huge. There's nobody's done it. He's the first, and he might be the last. Who knows? With the new rules and stuff, you never know. What he did at that time was just Hall of Fame worthy, and there he is.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, thanks.
All right, there's Dave Tobe. We'll hear from Joe Cullen here very soon. Connor Embry, Dave Merritt will be up there as well. I think maybe Dave Merritt's going to be next, but certainly some things to take away from Dave Tobe there that I want to get into, but here's Dave Merritt.
Spags has talked about the fact that you want one of these guys to come up and really play in that spot opposite Trent in the lineup. What's your message to these guys who are competing for that spot?
Same thing. You want a guy to step up. 35, Jalen Watson and Joshua Williams have played a lot of football for us. Najee Johnson, of course, coming back off of a knee injury, but you want someone to step up and be able to claim that position and not have a guy rotating and always looking over his shoulder. And so, but we're looking for the same thing, and I, echo what Spags said.
Do you know it when you see it, or how do you measure this?
Consistency in practice, consistency in technique, as well as consistency in understanding and knowing the calls. So you can feel when a guy is ready to take over and just take it. Not saying that he's going to be clean in everything that he does, but once you see a guy consistently day in and day out, all right, not having the big lows, the big drops, you know that, hey, this guy may be ready to go. And so, but again, we have a great thing going here because, the Fab Five, all those guys have played a lot. And so with 35 and 2, Josh and Jalen, either guy that goes in there and start for us, you have to understand, we normally play 6 DBs on the field, all right, sometimes 5, because the NFL puts out 3 wide receivers. And so both the guys are starters anyway. So we're really just talking about base personnel when it's just 2 wide receivers in the game.
13 still playing a little catch up?
13 is coming off of his injuries, and so what he's doing is he's coming back very strong, and so he was out there today with the ones, and he's been repping with the ones, and so I look forward to Najee just continuing to, ascend.
Has Jaden Hicks been everything as advertised?
Yes. He is playing probably 4 positions right now: strong, free, dime. So he's everywhere, and so but. The kid is smart. He's able to absorb a lot of information, and his head is spinning a little bit, but he's definitely everything that we thought he was going to be. You can see the skill set. He made a couple of tackles last week, which was pretty good, and block destruction, continue to work on being physical and quick as you're shedding those blocks. But yes, he is everything he advertised.
Do you see a role for him on defense when the season starts?
Yes, and Spags will be able to answer that even more, but definitely, you're not going to miss a beat if he's in there. You're losing Mike Edwards last year, and then all of a sudden you're going to have a guy that can end up filling that type of role. And so this kid has moved around at multiple positions, which has been great.
What is it about Spags that has enabled him to have this kind of
I think Spags is just able to be himself, and that's what Andy does. Andy allows you to just be yourself, and I think more than anything, he's allowed to go in and actually, shape the defense to his vision. And so not trying to be a Jim Johnson, not trying to be or somebody else as far as a coordinator. He's Spags, and he has a reputation. And so the 5 years we were together in New York, 07, 08, and then 15, 16, 17, he came back and the same thing happened. He was starting to just be himself. And so I think that's the thing that's happening with him. He's doing a great job.
Different in his when he came back. I mean, did that year off refresh him? Did it make him?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, one of the first things that Spags said to me when we came in here in 2019 is that, Dave, I'm going to try to make sure I simplify it and not try to throw a whole lot at the guys. Eventually we would build to where we are today. And so he said he just wanted the guys to play fast. He didn't want a lot of different calls. Now there's some game plan stuff that you do, but the package that we have today versus the package we had in 2019 is night and day difference, night and day.
Yeah, Dave, from a characteristic perspective, what do you look forward to having for situations for this team?
Yeah, all right. Number one, press man to man. Two, you have to be able to be a guy that can understand zone concepts, but press corner is the main thing that we're looking for to start off with. And then we turn around and we go into zone coverages, and those guys need to understand whether we're playing cover two, whether we're playing quarters, how to play zone concepts, what happens when two goes away, so on and so forth. So having a guy that's cerebral and that's smart enough to understand it's not all man-to-man where you can just go out there and lock down a guy, because we play a lot of zone. But our corners, the main characteristics is having a guy that can understand press as well as zone concepts. Length is one thing that we also want as far as corners, because we go against a lot of tall wide receivers. So if you have these guys that are coming in here, no knock on anybody else's team, but if you have a guy that's coming in here that's 5'10", and trying to stay outside the whole time, eventually that's going to catch up with you with the guy like a Mike Williams and some of these other tall receivers. So having guys with nice length to them as well is what we're looking for.
Thanks, everybody.
All right? Thank you.
All right, there's Dave Merritt, and boy, a lot of stuff to take away from that as well. Trent McDuffie, by the way, is listed as 5'11", so maybe he wasn't specifically talking about Trent McDuffie when he says we want length. Nothing against a lot of other guys. If you're coming in at 5'10", McDuffie's 5'11". Here's Joe Colin.
Seems I've been here for about 3 months, and it's been a great camp. Great physical camp, tough training camp, the way Coach Reed goes about it. And we've had great work, defensive line going against Coach Heck. I've been with him before. It's been a great training camp. And with that, I'll open it up for questions.
George improve year over year heading into this game?
I just think every year, when George was thrown into the fire as a rookie, he got better last year. Now he just knows the defense. He's fine-tuning his game, and mentally and physically, he's had a great training camp.
How is Felix different right now than maybe he was a year ago at this time, especially in the run?
Well, first of all, he's in great physical shape. Compared to a year ago, he was injured with a hamstring, his wrist, didn't have much practice time during the offseason until training camp. And just mentally, he knows the playbook. He's playing faster. He did I was really pleased. He did some really good things in the game against two of their better tackles in his pass rush, and he's continuing to develop and get better. Just be more consistent. He made a couple nice plays in the game, but just be able to shed quicker, decipher things a little quicker. But he's a lot better than he was a year ago. He made a couple nice plays in the game, but I'd just like him to be more dominant at the point of attack.
What have you seen from your interior defensive tackles in running defense?
Well, I know obviously Chris, had a great training camp up to the point he got nicked up. He'll be back, but Turk Wharton has had a dominating training camp, just strong. He's physical. Love where he's at, and getting Mike Pennell back was really big. And he's done a great job in training camp. He's just so big and physical in there at the point of attack. But they're really developing. Neil Farrell has done some good things, just has to be more consistent. And then we'll get Nadi back, and the young guys have really worked hard.
Somebody like Fabian Lovett, what have you kind of seen?
Well, I'll tell you, he's big, he's physical, and again, just like young guys, they're a little careful at times. You just got to go. Just got to get his big tail moving up the field and knocking people back. But there's definitely a hope there with him and Gubner, the guy from Montana.
Joe, what do you see as a role for Neil Farrell now, having seen him in the training camp setting unlike last year where he came in and trade?
Well, I tell you, he really picked it up at the end of the year, and we get some competition there. You know, in terms of that nose spot, you got Mike Pinnell, you got Derek Nottie, who have both started a lot of years in the league. You got Neil, who came on at the end of the year. You got Matt Dickerson, who really did a nice job in the game, and we know what Matt's done here for us. So there's some competition. I expect Neil's a big physical guy at the point of attack, and when he plays with low pad level and uses his hands, he's hard to block.
You've had guys who obviously have outside-in flexibility. Do you have any inside-out flexibility, maybe to help out with the depth on the edge?
Yeah, we do. Chris, obviously, in passing downs, we move out there. Turk can do that. You know, we earlier in camp, we were moving Turk outside in some base situations, so there's a 290-pound guy that's quick and physical. But absolutely, we got Mike Dana, George, Felix, and even Truman Jones, who's done a nice job. All can move in or out. And then we got Turk and Chris that can go out when they have to. Appreciate you. Thank you.
There's Joe Colin, who we just don't get enough of. I just love listening to him talk. Some football, man. And, you know, people that are putting together their 53-man roster, which we've done, and we'll get into a little bit later. Here's Andy Heck.
Yeah, Kingsley, you can see it right off. His talent, his physical talent. Big, strong, great movement skills. He's shown a knack for being able to pull and make blocks in space. He's a young guy that's trying to grasp all of our techniques and as well as the playbook. So that's a work in progress and kind of figuring out how does he learn best so we can help him grow as quickly as possible.
Do you feel like he's a little more advanced at this point of camp than you thought he might be when camp started?
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I'm really pleased with where he's at. He's progressively gotten better each day in terms of picking up, you know, something. We say, hey, man, great, you got that. Let's put that in your hip pocket. Now let's add one more detail, one more skill to the mix.
You guys have been comfortable starting rookie linemen. What's been the key to that, you think, just making sure that they're ready on day one?
Well, first it starts with our scouts bringing in good people, guys with the requisite skills, size, strength, and so we've been fortunate here to get some really good guys in here. When you talk about Creed and Trey, Kingsley has that kind of ability that you can put up against anybody. Now it's just a matter of execution, details, learning our offense.
You talked a little bit about having been around the NFL and having relatives. Do you see in him, I guess, a little bit more maturity and comfortability from having been around the NFL a little bit?
No, you raise a good point. I hadn't really considered that. One of the things I always ask young linemen is, are you a fan of football? Who do you like to watch? And just get a sense of that. And Kingsley is certainly a guy that knows a lot about that. Of course, he loves to watch his cousin. He loves to watch this guy, that guy. He's a football junkie. And so you want that. You want people that are all about ball. And so, yeah, maybe that has a lot to do with, why he is that way.
Andy, whenever you're dealing with younger guys, there's a certain amount of snaps or reps you want them to get that muscle memory, you want technique.
I would, yes. Muscle memory plays a big part, especially if you're trying to tweak a technique, break a habit. That's a tough thing to do. The more reps you can get, the better, obviously. So is there a set number? No, but hey, if we can get more, and that's one great thing about coaches' training camps.
How about progress in the two other draft players, Hanson and Norzad?
Yeah, so Hunter Norzad has made great progress. He's a very quick study, which you'd expect from a guy with an Ivy League background. I mean, you tell him something once, man, he's got it. But what I've been most pleased with is that he has been able to make little technique adjustments. I didn't know if we'd get that from him, but I see it every day from him. And then C.J. Hansen is a tough nut now. I mean, he's as tough as they come, loves football, and so he's been making steady progress as well. I'm really pleased with both those guys.
Last two, Nathan. Amy, do you feel like you have defined roles for your two line in terms of depth, or how much will these next two preseason games sort of define that role as well?
Yeah, so it's definitely taking shape. But as you mentioned, there's a lot of work yet to be done, 2 more preseason games. And so guys still have an opportunity to step up and carve out a role. I would say at this point, nobody's got anything locked down. You know, when you talk about your swing interior guys, I mean, we got a really good battle going on there with Norzad and Caliendo. And then at the tackle spots, you know, Wanye and Lucas both have started games. They're capable of being starters. So what is their role going to be? It's not yet been determined.
Andy, not to belabor the point, but talking to Kingsley yesterday, Joe Tooney seemed like he was being a real help for him, just having him beside him to sort of take him aside and show him a few of the ins and outs. From your perspective, how helpful is that to have a veteran sort of being able to maybe fill in a little bit of the blanks?
Yeah, that is huge. So Joe especially, but not just Joe, I mean, all of our veteran guys are fantastic with our young guys. We've got a super young room with 7 rookies. But you talk about Joe Tooney grabbing Kingsley. It's like another coach on the field. You know, he's able to be supportive. He's able to push him. He's able to hit him on some details, maybe answer a question that he didn't have a chance to ask in a meeting. That is absolutely invaluable, and that's one of the reasons we've got such a great culture in our room. Thank you.
All right, there's Andy Heck. Couple things he said there. One thing specific that he said there about roles for players, I think answers the question that we all felt like the answer was already there, but this is a little more definitive. But here's Connor Embry.
Yeah, he's been great. He's been working hard and picking up the playbook. That's probably been the best thing or most impressive thing to me is how quick he's been picking up the playbook. Yeah, he'll probably do a little more than Rashid did, but still probably not try to overload him and let him get his feet wet and build it up.
For you taking over the position coach role last year, the rookie year to now, what's been different for you?
From this year? I think it's just like anything else. After doing it for a year, you kind of know what to expect. Everything last year was new because it was my first time doing it. Now I know what to expect.
You guys have a lot of talent at the end of the room. What do you look for in those tough decisions when you have to make it in a couple weeks here?
Yeah, someone that can just get in and play any spot, and then someone that helps out on special teams.
So the additions that you guys made to the room, how is that maybe going to impact the offense, and what should we see?
Yeah, I mean, we got a bunch of new guys in this year, so they'll all be in there playing and making an impact, so that's it.
What do you see from Justin Ross in the last week or so?
He's really picked up his game, and then what I asked him to do is pretty much dominate any jump ball and then the red zone, and I think he's been doing that. He's a big body receiver, and he needs to play that way.
What else does he need to do besides the jump ball? We've seen that out here from him.
Yeah, just be consistent and show up every day and work hard.
What about Canarius Tony?
KT, you know, he's had some nagging injuries, but he's been working himself back. And then when he's out there, you see the dynamic ability he has, and just building up reps. The more he's healthy, the more reps he can get.
Have you seen a change this year in Sky Moore? Kind of what's his progression right now?
Yeah, Sky's been great. He's one of those guys that knows everything, knows what to do, and works hard. I know the quarterbacks love him because he's the guy staying out after practice, trying to get extra reps in. And then he knows, like I said, he knows the whole playbook, every position, so I have no problem putting him anywhere.
They mentioned bringing Rashid along last year. What are you guys tasking him with as far as being better this year?
With Rashid, I'm just really asking him to now just develop into a leader. So last year, you know, any rookie, he's just trying to focus on himself, know what to do his own job. Now that next step is do your job and help out all the other receivers.
What is Hollywood's injury affect kind of your game planning for the next couple of weeks, both as far as still getting him ready for the season and getting other guys into the spot?
Yeah, I think it's just that next man up mentality, and then when he gets back, he'll fit right back in and hopefully be up to speed with everything.
I know it's unfortunate that he's had the injury on Saturday, but you know, from the starter training camp, what did you feel like you learned most about him, seeing him in the offense alongside the rest of the guys?
He's fast. I knew that, but seeing it in person is different. And then his leadership. He came in from day one, and he's been kind of taking over that role as the leader in the room. So that's been great.
Won the Super Bowl, but led the league in drops as well. How do you work on that in the early days of training?
Just kind of mind tap them every day just to focus. I tell them, if you guys just focus, look the ball all the way in, you're in the NFL for a reason. So I thought most of the drops from last year were focus drops where, you know, they had their hands on the ball. It was maybe they're turning their head away to, you know, make a play with the ball in their hands. So really just focusing on that. Catch it, look it all the way into the tuck, and then become a ball carrier. Thank you, guys.
All right, there's Connor Embry, wide receiver coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. And we'll hear from Assistant General Manager Mike Borgonzi here very shortly. A number of things that I think there's going to be some questions that people are curious about with some contracts, some extensions, players, trades. Here's Mike Borgonzi.
Yeah, it's good to be up here at camp. I think we've had some really good work here at camp. You know, I think the competition's been really good. That's a credit again to our personnel department for all the work that they put in throughout the season. You know, not only evaluating the talent piece, but also the character and the makeup, which is a long process throughout the season. And then, you know, once we get them inside the building, I think we have the best coaching staff in the National Football League, just in terms of, you know, teaching and developing these guys to really maximize their abilities out here in the field. So we get another preseason game here this week to evaluate them. Excited about that. And, yeah, open up to questions.
Talking about the makeup of the roster, this feels like to me, the least amount of turnover that we've seen maybe during camp, which is covered a long time.
Yeah.
What does that speak to as far as just how this roster's been built, the depth of experience?
Yeah, you know, I think obviously the last few years, I think we've done a good job in the draft, you know, adding talent. And these guys playing right away, you know, going into the second, third season now. And so that, you know, when you draft well, you don't have to bring in so many guys from the outside. So, you know, I think that's, once again, really a credit to the staff, the college staff throughout the season of just, you know, putting together good drafts.
Like last year, you guys were able to orchestrate a trade for Smith Marset. A
Yeah.
lot of receivers this year, you know, not to say it's going to happen again, but what's the process of trying to find a partner? Because, you know, you do have a player like that you might want to.
Yeah, so, you know, our pro department now is watching all 31 other teams and making phone calls and seeing what their, you know, what their needs are, what their surplus is, and that's kind of how that works, Pete, is that, you know, you try to find a match, and sometimes it's towards the end of the season if we have a surplus somewhere. And, you know, we made the trade with Carolina last year, you know, doing that.
Is there a guy from this year's draft class that's maybe kind of surprised you in one way or another out here so far?
You know, I've been impressed with, you know, just some of the guys being thrown right in there. You know, Kingsley especially, you know, playing left tackle as a rookie in the NFL is not an easy job. And, you know, he's going to go through his ups and downs. But just as far as, you know, he's coachable, the consistency with them. You know, all the rookies really. Jaden's kind of made an impact early on. You saw that in the game, and you saw it out here in practice. And that's kind of carried over to what we saw at Washington State. You know, yeah, you know, I think you're hopeful that what you see on film is what comes out here in practices, and so far, you know, those two guys are standing out to me.
Mike, can you elaborate just the wide receiver room, maybe potentially a Hollywood's injury, high defensive decisions that you had over the last few weeks?
Yeah, so I mean, we have some veteran guys here that have played. Obviously, you know, we threw in Jay Watt, you know, right after in practice here to kind of replace him. So it's really, you know, you're putting together a puzzle at the end of the cut down day, and where you might be heavy at certain positions, where you might be light. So you take into all that into account, where, you know, where you have injuries, you know, maybe at that position. So we're a couple of weeks away from doing that, but that certainly, you know, that certainly factors into it.
Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, Nick Bolton, is there any urgency to get those deals done before the season?
Yeah, I mean, we'd love to retain all our players. You know, it's a work in progress, and, you know, I think Brett and Chris Shea, who handles that, have been, you know, diving into that and trying to get something done with these guys. So, you know, when we draft guys, we'd love to retain them, but, you know, it's tough now in the National Football League with the salary cap and everything, but we'd love to bring all those guys back.
Like, obviously, you liked Chris Jones when you drafted him back in 2016, but is there been any surprises in his career? I mean, did you see his career going the way it has, or have there been any surprises in that regard?
Well, I think when you saw Chris in college, you saw a physical freak. You know, if he could put it all together, and I think Chris has really, you know, improved over the years. He's become a leader in that room. And then, you know, no one's bigger than Chris Jones in big moments of games and making plays. And you saw that through the playoffs last year, just affecting the quarterback, not necessarily sacks, but just the way he's grown over his career.
I feel like he's put it together, to use your words, put it together.
I think he has.
Maybe more consistently, better than you
Yeah, I think every year he's grown and become more consistent, whether that's playing the run or just, you know, making big plays, you know, down the stretch in critical moments. And, you know, he's certainly one of the guys over the past few years that has done that for us.
Let's do 3 more. Talked about the cut down coming up in a couple of weeks instead of the incremental. You got the one big one. Does that make it easier or hard?
You know, I think it's easier for us because we get another week to evaluate some of these guys. So for us, it really doesn't matter. It's almost better that we can take a longer look at some of these guys, whether it's practice or that last preseason game.
Wrap up with Nate and Sam. Go ahead, Nate.
Mike, can you just explain, even though the offseason is shorter, just what was your favorite part of this past offseason and what makes the offseason challenging considering your guys' success?
Yeah, obviously, you know, we're ending the season a lot later, and this has happened to us, you know, a few times now. So you know, you're a little behind on maybe the draft meetings and picking up on that aspect of it in the off season, but you know, we've been through it now a few times, so we've got a system down where we feel comfortable now. You know, it was the first time I'd interviewed for a GM job, so it was a great learning experience for me. Getting to sit down with the owner, Josh Harris, and his committee. You know, it was a very diverse committee. They had Bob Myers, who was the GM of the Warriors, on that committee. So really having conversations with them about their philosophies on leadership and organizational philosophies and processes, especially coming from a different sport, too. So it was a great learning experience for me.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, there's assistant GM Mike Borgonzi. We will take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling, talk about the things that we heard. Daniel Holmes coming up at noon. Mick Schaefer, 1 o'clock. More Zone next. All right, we'll talk with Daniel Harms coming up at noon. A couple of things from the press conference I wanted to weigh in on just a little bit. We can get more into this in the noon hour after Daniel Harms, but catching up from all the different people that we heard out there, Dave Tobe, Dave Merritt, Joe Cullen, Andy Heck, Connor Embry, Mike Morganzi. A couple of things that stood out to me. Andy Heck talking about the roles for players. First of all, he was talking about Kingsley Suamataia and saying you can see it right off. The talent's big, strong, movement, can block in space, trying to grasp the techniques that we do around here. The playbook gotten better each day, adding more detail every day. And then he was asked later on at the end about different roles for players and those that may be solidified. And he was saying, there's still 2 more weeks to figure this thing out. As a heads up, August 27th is the cut-down day, so 2 weeks from yesterday. So it's the Tuesday after the last preseason game is cut-down day.
Baker's dozen.
That's right. So 92 – no, you got 13. It was the Baker's dozen. And I said, no, you got 13, which is Baker's dozen. Anyway, when you have to explain the joke, it's not funny. Anyway, Andy Heck talking about the roles for players, and he said there are battles in the interior to look at that interior, swing player in Norzad and Caliendo. That's a really good battle. And then Wanya and Lucas Niang in what they're doing and figuring out their roles at tackle. Not Wanya and Kingsley.
Yeah.
Not Wanya Morris and Kingsley is a good battle. It's Wanya and Lucas, which we all sort of assumed what we've seen the last couple of weeks, that Kingsley is the starting left tackle. What we saw in the game on Saturday, Kingsley's going to be the starting left tackle. This is just another data point of an offensive line coach telling you there is not a battle at left tackle right now. There is not a camp battle for a role for the starting left tackle. That is Kingsley. Wanya Morris is battling Lucas Niang for who the swing tackle is and figuring out what their roles will be on this team. Kingsley, your starting left tackle. Another quick one from Dave Merritt when asked about the cornerback spot, the second cornerback spot, the Steve Spagnuolo saying that nobody has claimed the job yet, and he'd like to see somebody do that, step up. And Dave Merritt saying, I would echo those thoughts. You want somebody to step up. Watson, Williams, they've played a lot here, played a lot of football. Nazi, you want somebody to take the job so you don't have to rotate all the time. We're looking for consistency in technique, consistency in knowing the calls, not having a big low. Then that guy may be ready. Is he not seeing consistency in knowing the calls? Like when he's saying, what do we want to see for a guy to take the job? Consistency in technique and knowing the calls. You started off by saying those guys have played a lot of football here.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like now thinking to the first part of, well, you want somebody to Watson and Williams, they've played a lot of football here. Almost feels like I don't know why they aren't getting it because they've played a lot of football here. But we want somebody with consistency in the technique and knowing the calls. And then talked about, you got to be able to have the press man ability, but you have to understand the zone. When we're dropping back into this, when this thing happens over there, you got to know where you're supposed to be. You have to be cerebral. You have to understand those things. And then he said, and we also need length because you can't, no offense to anybody, but a 5'10 guy, you can't have that guy over on some taller receivers.
Offense taken as a 5'10 guy.
And Trent McDuffie, which, by the way, I think leads to a little bit more credence of Trent McDuffie has been sliding into the slot from time to time with the ones, and they've had Watson and Williams or Nazi Johnson or other guys on the outside. Trent McDuffie, while he will be playing the outside, I think when there are taller receivers that they will be going up against on the outside, as Dave Merritt said, we don't like shorter guys against length with wide receivers.
Sure.
So then McDuffie may slide down to the inside, and you may see a Watson and a Williams. Those were just interesting things that I heard from that, but plenty of other we can take away.
Yeah, I think Williams, Watson, I think it's a very intriguing battle right here. And when he mentions the knowing where to be aspect, because I think both Watson and Williams are both very talented corners.
They have talent,
They've shown a lot of promise, but also it's almost one of those situations where last couple seasons they've only been used pretty much in situations that they can succeed in. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not putting them out there the entire game.
Yeah.
They're rotational pieces. Well, now that they have to be out there the entire game, maybe that's where the disconnect is really coming in.
We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, wrap up this hour, still catch up from the press conferences, and then we'll talk with Daniel Harms about this Chiefs team. We'll talk with Mick Schaefer in the 1 o'clock hour. More Zone next. I told you earlier in the show that Juwan Taylor left practice early. Adam Schefter with an update. Chiefs offensive tackle Juwan Taylor suffered a shoulder injury at today's practice. One source said the team is, quote, not overly concerned at this time, end quote. That is from Adam Schefter, the update on Juwan Taylor. Now, we knew he left practice early. Those that were there, reporters, media members watching practice, did not see anything specific with Juwan Taylor, but he got carted back to the locker room front of the cart, so we knew it wasn't anything serious from the hip down. But it is a shoulder injury suffered at today's practice. One source said the team is, quote, not overly concerned at this time. I would rather it be the team is not overly concerned. But not overly concerned at this time at least leaves open the possibility of them being overly concerned. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels. We had up until 2 o'clock. We will hang out with Mick Schaefer an hour from now, KSHB 41 Sports Director. We'll hear from Daniel Holmes here in just a little bit. Wanted to weigh in on some of the things that we heard from the press conferences while we catch up with Daniel Holmes. Dave Tobe was the first one to talk at the podium now, almost an hour ago. And he said Deneric Prince, on that live ball mistake that was made that turned into a safety, said he just assumed it was a touchback because they had a couple of touchbacks early in the game. It's a learning experience for everyone. Well, I don't know if realizing that every kick in the new kickoff rule, unless it goes out of bounds or is kicked before the 20-yard line, so every other kick besides those, is a live ball, where in the past, if it bounced in the end zone, it was a dead ball. It's no longer a dead ball. You have to actually pick it up, down it, and make the motion for the touchback to not return it. That seems something you should know if you are on the kickoff return with the new rules. So I don't think that's a learning experience for everyone. I think it was a learning experience for Deneric Prince. For some reason, was not aware. He also talked about on the coverage team, they were too aggressive. Doctor said I was in too good a shape, too healthy. You didn't cover the kick, did you? No, we did not. You've got to build a wall. We over-pursued. Those are some of the things from Dave Tobe. I also thought, he was talking about the addendums that are going to be included along the way. And, they've rolled this thing out here in the preseason. And they've told the coaches what it's going to look like. Here are all the different rules. But even when Dave Tobe is saying, as we go along, there are some things that might be included or corrected or addendums added that are unforeseen circumstances, these consequences that come from this rule that they hadn't thought of, like they've already eliminated putting the ball sideways on the tee. Oh, you guys are putting the ball – well, no, you can't do that. We didn't think about if you guys would put the ball sideways on the tee. So, no, you can't do that. So let's add an addendum to that. Here's an amendment. Boom. There it's Rule 7.2-1. D. No sideways ball on the tee. But it's also, you kind of wonder, are they doing this all too quickly? Are they rolling this out too quickly if they're still trying to figure it out on the fly? If they're still having trouble themselves figuring these things out on the fly? If another year or preseason, go into next year preseason, and then regular season, you then get this thing rolling. I don't know. This certainly is a rip the Band-Aid off move by the NFL. It's more entertaining, I'll tell you that. They wanted to bring the kickoff back and make it more entertaining. They have absolutely done that. We talked a little bit in the previous hour about Dave Merritt and him trying to figure out who the second cornerback is. Because we know McDuffie's number one, but they have to have somebody step up and win the job. And him talking about Jalen Watson and Joshua Williams, they have, quote, played a lot of football here. Talks about Najee Johnson coming back from injury. They need somebody to take the job so they don't have to rotate all the time. This is coming from Dave Merritt. They'd like for you to say, hey, L'Jarius Sneed is our outside corner, and he's going to travel with the wide receivers. Trip McDuffie is our slot. He's going to be there. We have to figure out one spot on the cornerback and don't have to rotate. Well, now they for sure have to figure out one spot opposite of Trent McDuffie as long as Shamari Connor is playing the slot. But on defensive schemes where Trent McDuffie is playing the slot, which they have done in camp, you've got to find two guys now that can play the outside. Two different cornerbacks that can go and play against, the wide receiver skill position in the NFL has ballooned in terms of talent. And now you got to find two guys that can go and cover those particular players. So that's an issue because I really didn't think coming into year 3 we'd be having this conversation of they can't figure out between Jalen Watson, Joshua Williams, or Najee Johnson for somebody to take the job. It's not that they are, wow, these three guys are battling back and forth, and we've got a tough decision as to who's going to start. No, it's we want somebody to step up and take the job. And nobody's doing that because there hasn't been consistency with these guys from whether it's the technique or, quote, knowing the calls, the consistency is not there.
In fairness to the guys, there's 2 7th-rounders and a 4th-rounder. You knew there were going to be some limitations when you drafted them out of college. I'm not trying to make an excuse, but I'm trying to have some nuance and paint the full picture here. I'd have more concerns if this was with McDuffie. But, but the Chiefs are not.
But if we eliminate, like, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, hey, it's a sunk cost, it doesn't matter what the draft pick is, then same thing for the cornerback spot. That it's 4th-rounder, 7th-rounder. It's a guy that has to step up. It's why you walk on L'Jarius Sneed, because you feel like you've got somebody to step up and play at least a representative role there. And that's really, to me, that I'm not looking for L'Jarius Sneed. I'm looking for somebody to play a representative role that's not going to get toasted on the other side of McDuffie, or both on the outside if McDuffie had to slide in and play slot.
But in a baseball term here, maybe it's Ryan O'Hearn. Maybe you have some Ryan O'Hearns where if you put him in the right spot, for example, let's just say hypothetically, Williams only in press man coverage. Only press man zone, he struggles. It might be a tell, sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, then you're putting him in, they're going there.
More of a tell than in baseball. You can't really get away with it. You're not switching pit. But the point remains where if you put these guys in a spot to succeed, where they did with Williams last year, you look at his PFF grades last year, they were fantastic. But he didn't play a full workload. Maybe that's what you have to do. I'm not saying it's ideal, but if anyone can do it, it's Dave Merritt and Spagnuolo, who are very talented and they know how to disguise. Travarius Ward, if you guys remember early on in his career, he had to learn how to kind of play more zone. Even at times early in Travarius' career, you'd look on the field, one half is playing man, his side, and the other half is playing zone. Again, I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm also trying to say, let's not panic. I guess that's maybe what my main takeaway is it's not ideal, but I'm also not going to panic.
Yeah, panic will come on September 5th if they can't guard somebody outside of McDuffie and Lamar Jackson is throwing dimes. That's when it'll be like, all right, this is an issue. Let's bring in Daniel Holmes here to the conversation, RGR Football and the Draft Network, Draft Scout with the Draft Network joining us here in the zone. Daniel, welcome to the show. How are you, brother?
Oh, I'm doing good. Just trying to get some things done around the house. And when you forget something, it's like one of the more embarrassing things that can happen to you, because you have like phone calls all over your phone and then you got texts from everyone. But I'm fine. I'm doing well and recovering after the last couple of days in training camp.
Absolutely, yes. And one of the reasons why we wanted to have you on is because you were there in training camp for a couple of days, you and your daughter. Curious as to your takeaway from those training camp practices, and also what your daughter thought and her assessment and her write-up for some of the players and scout for the Chiefs in training camp.
Yeah, so first and foremost, the first day was a little bit rainy. Obviously, they had their 10-10-10 practice on Monday, and we didn't get to see a ton of like legitimate work, because I want to get to the actual meat and potatoes of practice, where you get pads on and actually get to see some development. And obviously, my daughter loved the rain, had her rain jacket on, and she was concerned about where Mahomes was. That's all she really wanted to know. She was like, "Where is he?" And then she was also, "Where's Travis? Where's Kelsey? I want to find those two." So, and then she also was like, "Are they going to kick the ball this way?" So I want to try to catch the football. Those are the three things that she was most concerned about. And so the second day, she got to watch the ball be kicked through and try to go over with those kids and catch some of them. So that was exciting for her.
That's great.
So the main takeaway I think I got from the last couple of days is really it's twofold. On the offensive side, I think Carson Steele is real. This is not a preseason camp kind of guy. Who actually got on the field. I'm going to be talking about this in a video that will come out tonight. Every time he touched the ball, it was positive. It was a positive, not necessarily in terms of yardage, because there was a 2-yard gain, but it was a first down. He got that 2 or 3 yard touchdown, or it was a 1 yard touchdown, a 5-yard gain, and then the big play. Like every time he touched the football, a positive thing happened. So you're going to probably see him in extended action with the first team, at least first team offensive line, I would imagine on Saturday. which should be fun and exciting for everybody, myself included. And the wide receiver and DB stuff, I heard you guys talking about the corners right before I jumped on, and they're still trying to figure some things out. I think you've got Williams, Watson, Najee Johnson starting to play. Taylor. They're trying to figure out what they're doing at the 2 and 3 spot, which is a tad bit concerning. But I think every time you go out there, you watch. I think Kelvin Joseph, particularly yesterday, had a couple of really nice plays against Nico Remigio, who is a smaller, shorter, quicker guy, and he was able to kind of keep pace with them. There was a really nice back and forth in the one-on-ones where he got him a few times, and then there was an adjustment play where Remigio came down with a diving catch, and he came up and gave it to Joseph a little bit. So it's always fun to watch that kind of stuff happen, especially for guys who might be on the roster bubble and really trying to make plays in camp. So the receivers, Justin Ross, I think now, unfortunately, with the injury to Hollywood Brown, is going to play quite a bit, and I think have a real legitimate opportunity to make this roster. I think the main one of the main takeaways for me is I was one of the people that thought defensive tackle might have been their weakest position outside of running back in this iteration of the Chiefs' defense and roster. But I think when I watched the preseason game, Mike Pennell looks like a man rejuvenated, completely rejuvenated, like he's ready to play good snaps for this team. I thought Tershawn Wharton looked better than he has since his rookie season. Physical, powerful, and was able to take on double teams, really create some backfield pressure, which we haven't necessarily seen a ton of from a power perspective in his point. So I think with the return to health of Derek Nottie, who we know is a good run defender, I think Neil Farrell had a couple of good opportunities to showcase his strength and guy who doesn't get moved out of gaps a ton. They could be pretty okay at defensive tackle, and that's something that I wasn't anticipating coming into this week.
It's interesting. We were I went up to camp a couple of Fridays ago, and we were watching some of the defensive, offensive one-on-ones, and then they were doing the 5 offensive linemen and 2 defensive linemen, and only a couple of offensive linemen move with that drill, but they're all set up and ready to go. And there was one particular play where Turk Wharton just blew past Trey Smith as if he was, not playing, as if Trey Smith was not one of the guys that was in on that play. It was a quick swim move, and Trey Smith missed and just turned around and went after Turk Wharton. It would have been a sack. It would have been a disruptive play. And that wasn't the only time that I saw something like that. And in the game, it looked like Turk Wharton was moving around pretty well and had a couple of plays that, stood out. And then Joe Cullen today was asked about some defensive linemen and, what guys are doing. And he said, Turk has had a dominant training camp. He didn't say that Turk's had a good training camp. He was talking about, different guys. Well, he said, Turk, he's had a dominant training camp. And, I put a star next to that because it means that, what I saw anecdotally on that Friday and, a couple plays on Saturday weren't outliers from what the team and the coaches are seeing, which, if Turk Wharton is playing at a level, that's better than what we expected, what do you think that does for this defensive line if they get that out of Turk Wharton next to Chris Jones this year?
I mean, it really unlocks what they can do from a pass rush standpoint. But also, if he's able to stand up against double teams, you don't have to rely on Derek Nottie on early downs because most teams know if Derek Nottie's on the field, okay, we can throw the football. He's not a pass rusher.
Yeah.
But if you put Turk Wharton next to Chris Jones, you're just like, okay, both of these guys have the ability to either get in the backfield quickly and disrupt the run game or pass rush. They have that quickness to them, and it changes the dynamic of what you can actually do because we know that Charles Omenihu has that ability too. He can kick inside, and he can still hold up and play in a different role as an interior rusher. I think you lose a little bit of the run defense if you put a guy like Mike Dana in there. We know you can't really do that with Felix, who's getting better from a defensive end perspective. He was much stronger. I think he looks much stronger, looks much better than he did last year. But it's not the same. And if you put in a guy like, again, I'm not trying to harp on it, but Mike Pennell looks really, really good. He's not a pass rusher, right? That's not his game either. The same with Neil Farrell. So it's very different if you get this best version of Tershawn Wharton. Maybe you rest Derek Nottie. You don't rush him back because he's still working his way back from his injury to get back on the field. And you can put him next to Chris Jones and say, hey, just kind of guess. If you want to run the ball, okay, we'll be fine there. You want to pass it, good luck. So I think it really unlocks what they can do, and we already know that they love to mess around with their defensive line construction anyway. So it gives them just another body in there for that.
Daniel Harms is our guest, RGR Football at the Draft Network on Twitter, at In Harm's Way 19 on Twitter, but RGR Football and the Draft Network scout. You talked about Carson Steele in the game, and certainly he stood out. And, he wasn't a part of a 53-man roster that I would have had before Saturday. But, hearing people talk about Carson Steele at training camp, watching what he did on Saturday, and then the fact that he started running with the ones after, Isaiah Pacheco, which was typically what Deneric Prince was getting. I'm putting together a 53-man roster. Carson Steele's on my team, whether that's a fullback or just running back, whatever it might be. Matt Nagy yesterday said something, Daniel, that really stood out to me, put a star next to it in that one. And he was talking about Carson Steele, and he said, the footwork, his assignments, he's in the right place at the right time, and you can trust him. I don't know how often an offensive coordinator or a coach says about a defensive or a rookie, offensive or defensive rookie, that you can trust that guy, especially, Daniel, a running back that's got to deal with pass pro and audibles and things like that. What does that tell you if you hear Matt Nagy say about Carson Steele, you can trust him?
It's exactly what we've come to expect about this offense. Trust is one of the most important factors. You look at last year, right? And Patrick was like, I don't trust any of these guys to make the play. So I'm going to throw to who I trust. And that ended up working out to be Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce to an extent. Like, that was pretty much the only guys they trusted, him and Justin Watson on the corner routes, who was fantastic on those. So the fact that we're hearing that Carson Steele is a trustworthy player and the footwork stuff, I was very impressed with. There was a jump cut he had that I was actually going to be. It's in my video for today as well. Nice. He's able to press and pop, and for those who don't know, you press gaps to bring linebackers in. So Carson Steele is coming up to the offensive line at that A gap. He's trying to get in there to bring linebackers in so that they're not out somewhere else. And he popped all the way to the C gap. Yeah, he ran it into the tight end, but he was able to jump cut all the way over there. Again, that's not something we are used to right now with the running back room that's in Kansas City. So to have the wherewithal, the footwork, the patience, the vision to see that gap, along with the fact that he's a trustworthy player right now after the first preseason game, like you said, you could almost write that name in there as he's going to make the roster. And I personally have him at running back because I know that he can do H-back and fullback stuff. He's talked about how he played fullback in high school, but he hasn't done a ton of that work. Even now, he's still getting reps as a running back. So he's got a lot more juice than a lot of people expected. And coming into that first preseason game, I was like, yeah, it would be nice to see him do well. I don't think anyone expected that.
No, I certainly didn't. And there are a lot of times when I'm watching a game or watching it back or watching other people's film, and you're like, man, just if you could press that gap right there, you bring the linebacker, which opens up that hole over there, but it just doesn't happen. I'm not saying Carson Steele's going to do that every time, but it was nice to see that for a guy who's a rookie in his first action and wasn't drafted and actually looked like he had some juice when the ball was in his hands, which is nice to see. Daniel Harms is our guest. All right, I wanted to talk to you about news that came out earlier today. Mike Borgonzi was at the podium and was asked about Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, Nick Bolton, and saying, yeah, we'd love to keep all of our guys and sign all of our guys. It's a work in process. Brett, Veach and Chris they're driving that and trying to get something done, diving in and trying to get something done with that one. The JOK contract that came out earlier today for the Cleveland Browns, 3 years, $39 million, $25 million guaranteed. What I said on the air today, Daniel, and I'm wondering if you agree, and we had a conversation last week, Sterling and I did, and Dylan, about the Nick Bolton contract. But to me, like seeing that contract, I'm like, all right, well, they have a ceiling for Nick Bolton. To me, it's not a starting point. It's like, there's the ceiling because that – or anything above that, no thank you. If it's below that and we get to a point to where the cost, makes a little bit more sense. But if JOK is getting 3 years, $39 million, that's the ceiling for me if they're going to, extend Nick Bolton.
Yeah, you start to feel a little uncomfortable about the 13 plus and 25 million guaranteed for Nick Bolton. And I want to be very clear about this. I appreciate and respect everything that Nick Bolton brings to the defense. The mentality, the mental side. If you listened at all to Steve Spagnuolo talk with Peter Schrager after the Super Bowl, he talked about how he went right to Nick after they went down to the 2-minute warning on that third down. And immediately he understood, yes, we want to do this play. We want to blitz. I want to be able to do this and get Trent McDuffie in that position to make the game-winning play, essentially. The mental side and the physicality and the run defense, fantastic. It's all there. I love all of that. He's just been nicked up the last couple of years now. Like, he missed games last year, had a club, and it prevented him from having a couple more interceptions, to be very honest with you. Yeah. You saw it a couple times playing off his hands. He talked about it. And while he's gotten progressively better as a zone dropper, being able to get to his spots where he knows he needs to be in zone, he's still not a fantastic coverage player. You cannot ask him to cover running backs out of the field one-on-one, out of the backfield one-on-one. Even tight ends will get him. So, yes, I think that there is a legitimate ceiling. I would say that the ceiling is probably lower than the $13 million a year that JOK got, and JOK is going to get better. I think this was kind of a bargain for the Browns.
I was surprised by it.
So I'm with you in this regard, and I don't want people to think that I'm hating on Nick Bolton. He's gotten better than I thought he was going to be coming out of Missouri, specifically for a shorter linebacker that doesn't necessarily shed blocks very well because he has short arms. He's gotten much better as just kind of understanding his own body and how to get the most out of it. And those are players that you want to have around. You just would love to be able to build your team with them and not have them break the bank. So if Nick's going to get it, he's going to get it somewhere, and I'll appreciate that for him. Just when you look at the construction of the Chiefs team and the money allocated elsewhere, $13 million for Nick Bolton does seem like a bit much.
There is a value in having a guy that can get to a ball carrier, and if he gets there, he's going to bring him down. Like, there's a real value to that,
sure.
and Nick Bolton does those things. But like for JOK specifically, like Nick Bolton has 21 tackles for loss in his career. JOK had 20 last year.
Yeah.
Nick Bolton has more of the volume of tackles, but JOK has the sacks and pass defense and a couple of interceptions last year, along with 100 tackles. Like the difference, I guess, is from Steve Spagnuolo and the Chiefs' standpoint, Daniel. The difference between a guy that might be a playmaker in JOK versus a guy who's a coach on the field in Nick Bolton, from not necessarily what we think, but how much do the Chiefs value the Nick Bolton coach on the field aspect? Is that JOK contract worthy to them, do you think?
Yeah, that's where I think we differ with the coaching staff, right? Yeah. And that's perfectly okay. We're all going to have our own opinions. I think that the team, the construction, the chemistry, the trust, again, we talk about trust, right? They love trust. They trust Nick Bolton to not only him to be in the right spot, to put everybody else in the right spot. I think that they want both him and Drew Tranquill there to solidify that linebacker room. Now, this has been a point of contention right now, for at least for me, because I don't have an issue with him being there with Drew Tranquill. And then when you had Willie Gay on the field, because he did offset some of the lack of pass coverage that even Drew Tranquill, who was a previous safety, who was put on more weight to be able to stand up against the run better. We saw him kind of get a little bit too far out. Just take this with a grain of salt on the Drew Tranquill thing, by the way. Just that it's one play, it's preseason, it means nothing. It was just more of a, I don't need to always get behind this line right here to get to the running back. You just kind of cut in front of him a little bit with the ETN thing. But Nick Bolton absolutely is a player that the Chiefs want to have. I think that he's higher up on their priority list than fans' priority list. Yeah. And I think that that's going to speak to the contract he gets if he is extended by the Chiefs this time next year.
Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening with that. Daniel Holmes, RGR Football, and the Draft Network. Last one for you on kickoffs. We saw how the Chiefs struggled in whether that be kick coverage and Dave Tobe saying that there was they over-pursued, they were too aggressive, whether that be the kick return that he said, we're all learning. It's all a learning experience for everybody. I was surprised that they had a number of touchbacks, like the first one of the game, like, no, stay in the end zone. No, bring it out. We're practicing here. This is preseason. Don't stay in the end zone. And so he said, he wants to see different guys. But saying that, there will be addendums along the way, has the NFL rolled this thing out too quickly in your mind? Or was it smart just to rip the Band-Aid off? Here's what we're going to do. Here are the rules. Get out there. This is going to be preseason. It's going to be regular season. And we'll figure some of these things out along the way as that are some unintended consequences. Or would it have been better of, hey, preseason, this is what it's going to look like, just so we can figure some things out. Regular season, we're back to what it was. Next year, we're full go. Have they sped this process up a little bit too quick in your mind, or do you like the rip the Band-Aid off, this is what it's going to be, let's go figure it out?
Well, that's typically the way the NFL does it, right? Like, we're seeing them use that with the chain game right now. It's not going to be implemented in the regular season. At least at this point, it might be implemented in the regular season, but it's a wait and see, not a, hey, that's how it's going to be. So,
right.
For me, I watched a lot of the other games as well. And I don't know about how you guys felt, but I didn't see very many issues elsewhere.
Agreed.
I can't tell if that's a little bit just maybe not taking it seriously. I'm not trying to insinuate that Dave Tobe didn't care about that. But when you are talking about over-aggressive in pursuit, but tentative with the kick return, that seems to be a disconnect for me.
Yeah.
I don't understand that process. If you want to be overly aggressive in some areas but tentative in others, if you want to really test out the theories, be aggressive the whole time.
Yep.
See what you have. Like, see how this is going to work. So I'm personally, again, we're going to find out more about it this next game, how they're going to adjust. I'm not worried about it long term personally, and I think it's going to be just fine. But it is what it is. I think the NFL is just like, look, we can't have another season where 20% of these kicks are going into the end zone and no returns. We don't want people waiting until after the first kickoff to view. We want people watching it the whole time, which is they're trying to get as much viewership as they possibly can. So if they say, oh, we're just going to do this now because it's going to make sure people are watching for the first, or not tuning out for kickoffs and things like that, then maybe they were. I don't have that information. I can't tell you that. But it does feel like the NFL was like, let's go ahead and just put this out here because we want to make sure people are watching the kickoffs and not just tuning out.
Well, let me tell you, it is given me more work as I'm watching every Chiefs game and I chart every single play, that when a extra point happens, it's very easy for me to just go, let's say September 5th, for example, the Chiefs score a touchdown, Butker kicks the extra point, just to go to the next one, and Baltimore drive one, -25. That was very easy for me to just get it done, call it a day, 1st and 10. -25, 1st and 10, okay?
Yeah.
We're starting at the -25, it's 1st and 10. Baltimore scores, Chiefs drive 2, -25, 1st and 10. That was very easy, Daniel, to do. And now they're screwing that whole thing up because now I have no idea where they're going to start. Ridiculous.
It's so funny. Like, I was just thinking, I was watching the game and I'm watching this replay. I'm like, if I have to watch another replay for a kickoff, just get rid of this. Get rid of it now. I'm not doing this.
There's going to be a lot of them, man. And there's going to be penalties, and there's going to be false starts, and all of that stuff, man. It's going to be interesting to see how it happens. Daniel Holmes, RGR Football, and the Draft Network. Daniel, great stuff as always, man. Appreciate it, brother. Enjoy the football. We'll catch up soon.
All right, man. Thank you for having me. Appreciate your patience with me, too.
No worries, brother. No worries. There's Daniel Harms. Great stuff from him. As always, Chiefs get ready for the Detroit Lions on Saturday, and we'll get another opportunity to see the kickoff returns and the kick coverage. It was like you don't want the first experience of a preseason game coming off a Super Bowl to be an annoyance, but I couldn't have been the only one that was annoyed when Reese Zomet catches the ball in the end zone and is getting ready to bring it out, and then I can't remember who it was that turned around and gave him the stop sign.
Yeah.
Right? Like, no, this isn't the regular season. This is the time to practice. Bring it out.
Especially for him.
Right. But Dave Tobe, how do you not tell them we are bringing out every single kick? There is no touchback in the preseason. Every kick we are returning. We are practicing here. Live football during the regular season. Then let's use some strategy. But for now, there's no stop sign. It's go. Full bore. Go. Return it. It's like, all right, well, it's at least Mahomes is trotting out there. At least I get see number 15 running on the field. But I was just like, well, that's an interesting start to this whole kickoff thing. That 2 yards deep in the end zone, it's no, stay. All right, whatever.
2 yards deep, they take the last year's one out.
I mean, we couldn't get the Chiefs to just take a knee last year on some of those things. Man, what are you talking about? But yeah, it does offer extra work for me. I mean, I do have to wait a little bit longer before I type in the -25 first and 10. I can keep the first and 10 because that's more than likely going to happen. But that -25, I just have to sit there and wait.
Yeah. Normally, so I don't miss my notes.
Yeah.
Right, and all my stuff.
Right.
I could go during that and make my bourbon. I could grab
Don't
my
have that
beer.
problem.
I could grab my beer.
Also not that problem.
Just, things like that.
For sure.
Make a martini.
Yeah, don't have that problem either. These are 3 things I don't have to deal with.
Rum and
watching
pineapple even.
4 things now that I do not have to deal with.
Smoke a cigar.
Also 5
small
things
one.
now.
Yeah. But
big
now I don't
or
have
small.
time.
It's not the size of that's the issue for me. So yeah, these are 5, 6 things that I don't have to deal with for you. That you do.
Every single game.
I get it. I get it. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling. More Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. The big question going around Kansas City right now is it a requirement that if you have a pet alligator that you will be on the team? That's the main question everybody's asking. I mean, I go in to get a haircut, and it's, a pet alligator. You already automatically on the team? Great question. Great question. Stop by the local, grocery store. Checking out. Hey, pet alligator.
Oh, I thought you were going to the grocery store to buy yourself a pet alligator. I'm like, I think you're in the wrong state to do that.
No, that was going to get a different alligator. That was not the pet alligator. That was, what are we having for dinner, honey? Have a little gator. See a little gator, huh?
Chewy chicken, baby.
Some gator.
Chewy chicken.
By the way, I don't know that Hen House sells alligator, but I know that they've got the Sports Radio 810 NFL Season Preview and Super Bowl Champions Collector's Edition magazine that's available right now at Hen House. All Hen House and Central Bank locations. You can go and get that and pick up that magazine. Westlake Hardware Stores, Hollywood Casino, Green Light Dispensaries, Pizza Shuttle, and every remote that we are going to have this month. We will have that Sports Radio 810 2024 NFL Season Preview and Super Bowl Champions Collector's Edition magazine for you available now. You don't need to wait to pick up your copy today. Again, all Hen House and Central Bank locations, Westlake Hardware Stores, Hollywood Casino, Green Light Dispensaries, Pizza Shuttle, and every remote that we have this week, we will have those there. I'll be at Mod Pizza a week from tomorrow. So I'll be there hanging out in Lenexa location for Mod Pizza as they're going to be having
Just you? Not just you?
Just me.
Oh.
It's in the afternoons during the Petros shows during the program.
Oh, you get the delicious Mod Pizza?
Yep, 4 o'clock next Thursday. I'll be there in Lenexa hanging out. It's buy one, get one. Buy one, get one next Thursday. So I'll be there.
Hey, you know what?
I bet we'll have some magazines. Buy one, get one pizza and said magazine. We're going to give you that magazine for free if you buy a pizza. We're going to give you it for free if you don't. But still.
Let me throw this by you. Let me just run something by you.
You're not going to throw it by me. I'm going to hit this thing right back up the middle. Bring it.
You buy the pizza.
Okay. I'm not going to buy it, but...
and then I get a free one.
You wouldn't just split the cost?
Yeah, he beat me to it. I was going to offer the same thing.
Yeah, just split the cost, right?
I'll take the free one. My largesse knows no
I mean,
bounds.
that is one option.
I'll give you a better offer here.
Okay.
I'll split the first pizza if I can have the second one free, so we pay. I'll split the pizza you have to pay for, and then I'll take the free one, so we actually just split the price of the first pizza. How about that offer?
Sounds great.
That's a better offer than mine, Dylan.
Sounds perfectly fine.
Too much math. Too much math. I'll put it
now
on your card.
I get to eat said first pizza that we're splitting.
And
we're
then
just
I
splitting
get-
the cost of the first pizza. Yeah, that's fine. We'll just split the cost of the first pizza. I'll give you the second one for free.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds groovy.
It's easy math.
But we're, which is also just saying, why don't we just take two pizzas? It's the price of one, and we'll split the cost there. Either way,
boom.
You can do that at Mod Pizza next Thursday
I want Mod
in
Pizza
Lenexa.
so bad right
dude.
now.
Right?
Really,
Can I have it?
I'm
But
so
I want it
hungry.
now, Daddy. What do you do when your kid is
I know,
brat?
I know, but I just didn't like you saying that. Can you mark that? I just, out of context, him saying that was just...
What do you do when Sterling's a brat?
No, but you talking about
Like
daddy
the
on air, I'm not...
Oompa,
oh, man.
Oompa-dee-doo. Speaking of Oompa Loompas, Dave Merritt saying 5'10 cornerbacks. Can't have them. Okay, he didn't exactly say that, but he did offer the no offense to anyone, so...
You know when you said the
I
no
said with all
offense-
due respect.
With all due respect.
I said with all due respect. I can say anything I want now. I said with all due respect.
Let me go to the roster. Let me go to the cornerback position, see how many 5'10".
No offense to any particular cornerback, but if you're 5'10", we need length because we're going up against some taller receivers. So length is also something they want in their cornerbacks. We know that.
I feel bad. Sorry. DJ Miller Jr. from Kent
sorry.
State rookie. You're the only 5'10", listed 5'10".
I'm assuming DJ stands for whatever his first name is and then Junior. That's the DJ. So DJ Miller Jr. might be redundant. It's like ATM machine. But anyway, go ahead. DJ Miller Jr. is, what's he, 5'9", 5'10"?
He's 5'10". He's the
Okay.
only one that's...
He's only 5'10".
That's 5'10".
Who else is below 6 foot?
McDuffie is 5'11".
Yep.
So I have to go
Is
back.
Echo Boydo taller?
Christian Roland Wallace is 5'11".
Yeah, he does look a little stocky.
Echo Boydo is 6 foot. He's just
Okay, there you go.
he's lanky.
He's like wiry.
Nick Jones, 6 foot. But they do have a relatively large cornerback room, like
Yeah.
relatively speaking.
In terms of numbers or size?
I mean, Keith size. Keith
Okay.
Taylor's 6'3", Jalen Watson 6'2", Joshua Williams 6'3". I mean, those three guys right there, those are bigger bodied dudes. Kelvin Joseph 6'1", 195. I mean, he's built.
And we know they got the length of Williams and Watson, who they like.
Kamal Haddon 6'1", and then Miles Battle, who was getting some run, is 6'3" as well.
It's funny because, like, they've got a lot of different players there. They got a lot of different names in the mix that we've talked about and discussed. There's a lot of names. But after McDuffie, and it seems like Shamari Connor in the slot.
Oh, Najee Johnson's 5'10".
Yeah, I was going to say, Najee seems like he's a stockier fella.
Yeah, 5'10", 199.
Yeah, okay.
Couldn't just put a 2 in front of it. Maybe that's his choice. It's kind of like KD, not wanting to be 7 foot. He's 6'11".
I don't want to be 200 pounds. I'm not going to be a 5'9", 200-pound cornerback.
Yeah, no.
I'm not going to eat my way to dime linebacker.
Go ahead and throw me at 5'10", 199.
It's not a dime linebacker, but you get the point. I'm not gonna be that guy. They have a lot of names after McDuffie, and two of them that stand apart in Williams and Watson, not necessarily standing apart in what they have been in production on the field, but the names that we talk about a lot. Najee Johnson is there, but there's a real question, who is the second best cornerback for the Chiefs?
I think it's Williams.
See, and I might argue Jalen Watson right now. From what we've seen from Josh Williams.
I think in games over the past couple seasons, I would go Williams. But also, I think you always have to have the caveat, which is difficult to judge. Watson played the majority of last year with that labrum shoulder injury.
Right.
And how did that affect him? It didn't look like it affected his play at all.
Yeah. Now imagine if he, was healthy. I mean, who knows how much maybe it did affect his play, but yeah.
Of course. And so that's my question. You would assume it would actually affect him more on tackling plays, physicality plays, which I never noticed.
Right,
Both those corners, I think you're happy with the physicality they bring. That is one thing of a Spags defense of Dave Merritt. If you're a cornerback, you're getting dirty. You're going to come up with a tackle. Yeah. And honestly, quite frankly, you feel comfortable. How many teams feel comfortable with a cornerback almost one-on-one with a guy, and you're like, no, I trust him to bring him down? Even McDuffie, who is smaller, great technique.
Watching Nick Jones in the game, and then, I didn't see anything from him. I saw, I don't know, he doesn't move like what looks like an NFL cornerback. I don't know. It's just, it's odd. The way that he runs, the way that he moves around, pursuing the football, I'm like, that's the guy that's the backup slot corner? Okay. All right, well, we'll see.
Is he on your 53 right now?
Nick Jones is, just because he's been the backup slot. My cornerbacks, I've got 6 of them with 4 safeties, so 10 defensive backs, but the 6 corners are McDuffie, Watson, Williams, Najee.
Yeah.
Those 4. Then I've got Nick Jones and Kelvin Joseph, just because of what they've said about Kelvin Joseph so much.
Yeah, Joseph makes sense. I have Nick Jones the outside looking in because I do think.
Do you have Haddon in there? Because Haddon didn't look.
No,
Haddon looked lost.
I went with
a lot.
Because I went with 5 corners. That's why I went with McDuffie, Watson, Williams, Joseph, Najee, Reed, Cook, Connor. Have you interviewed Shamari Connor, Hicks, and then Deion Bush? Because I think special
teams.
teams.
You went 5 safeties, 5 corners.
5 safeties because I think Connor's playing more of the slot corner, so he's kind of the hybrid there. Because I do think Connor's going to play a lot of slot, but McDuffie's going to play a lot of slot too.
I mean, they listed Shamari Connor as a cornerback, so if they want to do that, then I'll slide Shamari Connor down there and knock out Kelvin Joseph or Nick Jones or whoever, because he'll be, if he's playing the slot, then you bring in Deion Bush. But Jaden Hicks was playing all over the place. They had him lined up on the slot a couple of times where he was actually in coverage. So that's fascinating to see the different ways that they'll use him. I didn't know, or at least from a draft profile, if he was athletic enough to be a guy that could be in the slot, have the safety come down and play defense in the slot. But they had him down there a couple of times as a dime linebacker, but also in coverage there against a slot wide receiver. So we'll see what that looks like. But yeah, there's some real questions moving forward about who's going to be on the outside opposite McDuffie and who's going to be on the outside on either side of McDuffie if he's in the slot.
We're also talking, again, non-real starters. We're talking about backups while you're looking at teams around the NFL going, do we have the right guy at quarterback? Who are they throwing the football to, and can the said player stay upright?
It's first world problems, certainly for the Chiefs, but they're in a first world when they're trying to win Super Bowls. So they're going up against other teams with first world problems, and they have a difference maker in Patrick Mahomes. But you get into a game where you start to have injuries to the wrong spot. Like they're susceptible to some areas that if attrition happens, they might be in a world of hurt. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. All right, men, if you're out there and maybe dealing with the issue of erectile dysfunction, you know that it can impact your relationship. It can cause... Coming up in the 1 o'clock hour, bad news in Minnesota. We talk about the breaking news and no news is good news in the NFL. We told you J.J. McCarthy was going in to get his meniscus looked at. They were going to have surgery, but did not know the extent of the injury until the surgery was done. They know the extent of the injury, and they know the timetable for him to return. The timetable for J.J. McCarthy to return will be the 2025 season. J.J. McCarthy is out for the year. Revealed the torn meniscus, a repair was necessary, and the rookie quarterback will miss the entire 2024 season. That sucks.
I think I could sing as good as Vince Neil does right now. I think I could.
Not
Not this,
not
but
in
like,
this song, but
no,
I was
but
gonna say,
like,
no,
but like,
okay.
no, no, 'cause
Is
I
it
can't,
literally right now?
I can't sing. That's
What
my
a,
point.
what a high bar to set for everyone.
Have you heard Vince Neil sing recently? Because
Yes.
if you have, then you
I've not.
understand the reference.
I think I could sing better than Sammy Davis Jr. right now. Like Sammy Davis Jr. right now, I think I could sing better than him right now. I'm just saying. Look. I'm not saying I'm a great singer, but I like my chances.
I'll
in
do
that
you one
battle.
better. I think Sinatra.
Oh, Blue Eyes?
Frank,
Really?
not any of his mini kids running around.
Not
Not
Junior?
Nancy?
Frank Sinatra Jr.
No, not that one.
What about Frank Zappa's kids?
Yeah, sure. What about Mike Zappa?
Well, no,
or Frank Zappa? Or Bell
His
Zappa?
kids are definitely not named Mike.
What about
Any
Zebby,
Zappas?
the kid that pitched last night?
Yeah, Zebby, Ballesteros, or whatever the name is. Like all of it. Yes, every single one of them. I think I can pitch better than somebody who's
What's
no
his-
longer alive.
Yeah, that's true.
What you
Or is not dead yet, but seems like may
I
not be
can't
alive.
sing better than Dweezil. That's a real Frank
That's a-
Zappa kid.
that's a person?
That's Frank
cool.
Zappa's kids named Armoon, Dweezil,
Oh, Armoon Dweezil.
Ahmet, and Diva.
Maybe it's Armin?
I got a lesson today. We watched the second Hard Knocks.
Okay.
And it was somebody was asking Caleb Williams about Wheezy. He's like, I met him. I know him. It's cool. I met him. And I turned to my son. I'm like, okay, which one? Who's Wheezy?
Wheezy F Baby.
Wheezy, Lil Wayne, I think.
Lil Wayne,
And the F
yes.
is
And then
for?
I don't know.
He's wheezy, but he's not asthmatic.
And then I was like, well, isn't Yeezy Kanye? He's like, yes, that's
Yeah,
Kanye. I'm
right,
like,
yeah.
okay. I'm up to speed now. I'm up to speed on the rap game.
Jeezy, Jay-Z.
No. And then you have Young
Greasy.
Jeezy.
Greasy.
Young Jeezy, who's now just Jeezy.
Sheezy, that's my reaction to this.
Who's a
Sheezy.
soul survivor.
Okay. All right. Greasy. John Travolta.
It's good.
Mick Schaefer, KSHB 41, is with us. Mick,
Easy cheesy.
I wasn't in on Monday, so I'm assuming everything went well on Saturday? With the broadcast and everybody knew that it switched over to 38 the spot. I'm assuming it was all good.
I was in the middle of the Flint Hills. I was hoping my phone wouldn't work. It did, though.
Were you
Damn
golfing?
technology.
Were you golfing?
No, I was concerting and laking.
Hello
Right? We talked about
Brothers.
that.
He was
Yeah.
concerting. He was concerting.
No.
They're not, but you saw them recently too, I think.
That's not a band.
Howler Brothers? I thought you said you saw
It's
them
a-
recently.
It's a hat company, bud.
I thought you. What was the band you
Oh,
saw?
they're
Wyatt Flores
their
is who I saw.
Howler Brothers' first album, easily their best. Then they, let's go
Crushed it.
mainstream.
They were howling.
Oh, let's go pop now. Let's go mainstream so we can make sellouts. Absolute sell. When they were a garage band, that's when they were real.
Well, one of the brothers left the band. Tim left, and so
Oh,
that's when
So now
it
they're
went
just-
down.
I'm going to go
Blur
solo because
Brothers.
I'm better than everybody else.
That's it.
The worst, man. Ridiculous.
No, there was a whole, like we predicted, faction of people who
Really?
found out right around 5 or 6 o'clock that the Chiefs were not going to be on 41 and let us know about it.
I was telling him that we were driving, and at that point we were in the middle of Illinois, and so my phone would play a couple of seconds and then start buffering, then play a couple, and I can't do it. I can't listen, and so I wasn't able to listen until like 2:25 when we got close enough to St. Louis, where I was like, all right, we're good. And so like I'm assuming you guys talked about it, like I said, but I'd have to imagine it was a lot of fun.
I read some of the emails
It was all
live
good.
on air that we got.
That's so great, man. That is just so good.
Mick, we actually told Jason earlier. So Jason's kind of like the kid at his birthday party,
Yeah.
clamoring for cake because he knows that the presents are after. When he was asking you if everything went good, he's trying to draw out some more.
You want some more?
I don't know. Do you have more?
I have a lot more.
he's got a lot
How about
more.
during the break?
Yeah,
I'm
No,
not
no,
sure I
no.
should be doing this.
Live.
So
Okay.
let's
All
do
right,
it during the break.
Live.
That's fine.
Yes, I have.
Break
I'm
alive.
TV, which we only have a few rules, but there are way more rules than radio has. Yeah, it's weird.
Why?
I don't know. You tell me.
In radio, we've added another rule. We're on TV. There's one more rule.
We
No
are
rules.
on TV,
Yeah.
actually.
One more rule. There are no rules. Put your shirt on. There's one
no
rule.
law. There's no laws with White Claws or with radio.
Or with radio. That's true.
And you can drink White Claws on radio, I believe.
Yeah.
Ain't no rulies when you're
As long as
drinking
you're not-
Trulies.
You
As long
know
as you're not
that's
drunk behind the board there.
You know that saying, but not who Wheezy is.
Yep.
No laws with White Claws, but we didn't know who Wheezy is.
the guy who
Yeah, I feel
Laws
like
when you
the
drink
guy spends weekends at the lake.
The White Claw thing is a very white thing. So yes, I know that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
claws.
I literally had a text that said, just what you said. That it's not
Just
reading
now?
in the face. Yeah. Someone goes, listen, you guys talk about rapper nicknames is the whitest thing I've ever heard in a while. So yes, it does make sense that you knew about Ain't No Laws when you're drinking.
Yeah, nice
Flaws.
job, buddy. That's exactly what
New
I was
record,
saying.
Well, that's my point.
That's what Nick Schaefer was going
I'm telling that guy. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. I was
what he
making
was
fun
going
of
for.
myself before you did.
Yeah, I thought it was
Joke's
odd
on
that you
you,
were
buddy.
just spooning out mayonnaise while you were doing that.
Ooh, a little spicy.
That
Got
was
got a little kick to it.
Was a little extreme, to go for the whiteness. Then you were talking. I think you just bought a Carson Steele jersey too. This is really weird.
Will Levis.
The Will Levis
jersey
yes.
while using my credit card and eating something gluten free. Yes.
Did you? And then telling everybody I'm vegan.
You do
CrossFit.
CrossFit.
Boom! There it was. Did you guys see the spoof that Will Levis did on a new cologne?
No, I've not been keeping up with Will
like
Levis.
Mayonnaise. It came out yesterday.
That's why the
it's like
name
mayonnaise scented
popped right in my head when you
cologne,
said mayonnaise.
and it's this whole it's obviously parody, but it's this whole dark background, wind blowing in his face and shirt and everything, sitting down on the couch and this seductive look, and he starts eating bread with mayonnaise on it. Just all right, well, then, you know what? Lean into it. Have a little fun. I don't think you need to eat the banana with the peel on, but just lean into the whole mayonnaise thing. There's nothing wrong with liking mayonnaise. Patrick Mahomes talked about ketchup on steaks. All right, ketchup on steaks is more blasphemous than mayonnaise and coffee.
Pretty gross, dude. Ketchup on steak is pretty gross.
Yeah.
Small town thing. We grew up a lot of ketchup on a lot of steaks.
Really?
Yeah, there was not the sauce. You had A1 sauce.
You didn't know how to make a steak? You just had to have sauce with
That's
it?
my point. Were you just overcooking every single steak?
Yeah. Yeah. What else? What's your next question?
Why?
I don't know. Whatever.
Is barbecue only about the sauce to you?
What's that?
Is barbecue only about the sauce?
It's only about the sauce. Let's go. It's about the sides for me. I love the fries.
Yeah,
whoever has the best fries, the best barbecue.
You're not wrong. It's pretty awesome stuff, but yeah, it's not really about the sauce. Like if you're good at what you do, like the sauce can heighten, can advance sort of that palate, but not be the base that's there with the whole thing. Mick Schaefer is with us. So the Olympics are over.
They are.
And you get back to being just your regular sports director self. And we'll be Sunday sound-offing it on Sunday.
Let's go, yeah.
You'll be Chiefs. Chiefs game is on 41 on Saturday?
It's on 41 on Saturday. Don't get used to it, but it will be on Saturday.
Okay. Woo.
Well, don't forget, in 2 weeks he becomes
Okay.
political.
Let's get back.
What happens in 2 weeks?
Let's
political,
cross that bridge when we get to it, Dylan.
So they're going to show the Chiefs game against the Bears over Kamala Harris's speech
They're
at
actually
the
gonna do like
National
a- I believe
Convention. It's going to be on 41.
I think that's the night she speaks, too.
They're
Yeah,
actually
Thursday
doing
night.
like a RFK Jr. Twitter live during
Yeah, they are.
that part. Yeah.
I mean, if she's nominated. So Thursday of the convention is always the nominee talks, right?
That's good.
And it's always the last night. It's Thursday.
It's Thursday.
So, and the conventions are always Monday through Thursday. So I'm putting 2 and 2 together. So I don't actually know if she's talking that. I'm just, it might be Tuesday to Friday. I have no idea.
Preempting sports for other sports is bad enough. Preempting sports for politics might be nuclear.
Would you get more?
And it's your choice, though, correct? This is all your choice?
It's all my choice. Everybody else at the station wanted to put the Chiefs game on. I'm like, no, guys. This is more important. It's democracy.
What would be a bigger?
It's only on 5 to 6 other channels.
Oh, dude, you're gonna get roasted.
That's a good point.
You know what? I can't wait for the.
That's the other part.
I can't wait for the mean tweets the next day.
It's not my choice, by the way. It's NBC's. They will not let any programming preempt the Democratic National Convention nor the Olympics.
So, quick question: what do you think would be worse in terms of the emails? Chiefs game not on for the convention.
Yes, that one.
Or the convention on, or the Chiefs game on and no convention.
Oh, the first one. They're fine with that.
Because people,
like I said,
find somebody else.
we'll go to another channel.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I was thinking the same thing, but yeah, we'll just sort of find somewhere else to get it. You can't really find somewhere else to get the Chiefs game if you don't have 38.
Oh well, 30
like
the spot.
YouTube TV.
You do. They giving you an option right here. 30.
It's not on anywhere but 41, right?
Which game?
Next
I
Thursday.
can't believe we're still talking about this.
It's on 38 the spot, right?
It'll be on 38 the
Oh,
spot.
okay. Next Thursday. Not this weekend. This weekend's on Channel 41.
That's right.
So excited about that.
God, I can't wait for the regular season starts.
What channel is this?
Because nothing preempts Sunday Night Football or Sunday Night Football on Thursday night, which will be the opener.
Yeah, I was going to say September 5th. What channel is that on? Is that on 38?
That is on NBC,
Oh,
KSHB
how
41.
about that, huh? See, there's your payback.
Our long 3-week nightmare will be over.
There's your payback, right?
James Brown.
And then they got at the Falcons on Sunday Night Football. And then
That's
what's the other one at home, I want to say, later on?
Who knows? I mean, I've got the list here somewhere, but I mean, that would take some searching to do for them to, for me to find what
it is tough to remember the Chiefs' schedule in 2024.
I mean, you're right. It's not
6 different days.
Saints is Monday night.
Yeah, that's at home. That's on, and that's Sunday Night Football, right?
Falcons, NBC, and then also the Chargers, and then the Texans are on NBC.
Yep, that Saturday game.
Chargers
before
and Texans
Christmas
on NBC. That game against the Falcons on Sunday Night
I think
Football.
there's still some bidding to do on the
I bid you adieu.
maybe the Friday Thanksgiving game and maybe the Christmas Day game.
So in a serious question, that Falcons game that'll be on NBC Sunday Night Football, is Hollywood Brown playing in that? And if he is that
That's
the
week
first game?
4?
It's week 3. If he is that the first game he plays in?
So
4 to 6 weeks.
I would say the first game he plays in is either Bengals or Falcons. Yes. Just knowing what we know about that injury. And I don't think the Chiefs are going to hurry him back at all.
Yeah.
And they realize, okay, first of all, we don't need a stellar receiving core to win games. And second of all, we don't have to win every game. We were limping to the playoffs last year at 11-6 and then found it. And so this is early September. We do not need to rush it back. So I think it's going to be week 2 or week 3. If I had to guess, I would say it's week 2 just because you got 10 days. Right? You got that extra. It's got that half bye week extra time.
I think it's going to be week 3. That's what I'm. If it's before that, I'll be pleasantly surprised. Tyreek Hill came back 35 days after the injury. 35 days from, I guess, Monday, but 35 days from that Sunday would put it at the 7th and the 14th. Chiefs play the Bengals on the 15th. So that would be pushing it to where Tyreek Hill came back. And that's also assuming his rehab is the exact same as Tyreek Hill's when he came back on the earlier side of that. Sure. And I think it might be unfair to Hollywood to compare him to what could have been a faster rehab process. You know what I mean? So Falcons, and before that, I am open to being pleasantly surprised.
How about this? How big of like maybe an 8-day stretch will we have in Atlanta? Because the 22nd, the Chiefs play there, and then the Royals finish up in Atlanta,
Wow.
which could be a huge series.
Yeah.
Why don't we just spend 2 weeks in Atlanta?
Who wants to do that?
Nobody
wants to do that. Even Aaron Ladd doesn't want to do that.
But yeah, I think that's that's it. It's week 2 or week 3.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. I mean, if it is week 3, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, I think week 3 would be my best guess. Again, comparing him to Tyreek Hill, who seemingly always came back quick.
Yes.
He's just a freak of nature. Like
Right.
I think it's a little unfair to Hollywood. I do wonder how much muscle has to do. Obviously, Hollywood's a little more slender compared to Tyreek. I wonder if that helps him, right? Maybe being a little less muscular than Tyreek Hill. Again, Tyreek's just a freak, though. But who do you guys think is the biggest benefactor of Hollywood going down? Because I think this could be McCole. Is it someone? Is it Irv Smith Jr. They just keep an extra tight end because we need pass catchers? I just wonder who the biggest benefactor is, because he's not going to miss enough games to where you're like, let's put him on the PUP list, IR, because then you don't want him to miss the full season, right? If you put him on the IR now, it's the full year. Who's the biggest benefactor to make the 53 with Hollywood?
To make the 53, there could be a lot of guys. I think on the field would be Sky Moore, because he's the one that came in and got his reps in the game on Saturday. But I think Sky Moore is going to make this team, whether he's healthy or not. Hollywood Brown, man, it could be somebody receiver. It could be an Irv Smith tight end. Could be a Carson Steele running back.
I think it's McCole Hardman. I think McCole Hardman's on the team without Hollywood Brown. If they think Hollywood Brown's going to, I don't think this is going to be an IR stint to where he's going to miss 4 games or anything like that, to where they have to put him on IR, designated return or PUP or whatever you want to call it, to where he'd have to be out those 4 games. I don't think that would be the case. So you'd have to carry him. And to carry him on week 1, then I think, and if he's going to miss a couple of weeks, then you're going to have 7 receivers. And the speed of McCole Hardman is what they would be losing in Hollywood Brown. Or the speed of Hollywood Brown is what you would be getting by keeping McCole Hardman. And he's been around. He knows the playbook. I think McCole benefits the most because McCole felt redundant with Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy, and almost like, here's an insurance policy. Well, now you have to cash in the insurance policy, and if you're keeping 7 receivers, then I think McCole is on the team.
Or do you think it might be a young guy to where, like, okay, we don't want to, waive McColl, 2 or 3 weeks into the season here. We'd rather, if we're going to do that anyway, let's do that now. Let's bring a young guy in, make that roster spot, and then just de-elevate him to the practice squad whenever Hollywood's ready.
Well, it might be like somebody like Nico Remigio clears waivers, and then you put him on the practice squad, and then in a couple of weeks, those things might sort of figure themselves out. It's like, okay, Hollywood's coming back, but this guy is now going to miss a game or two because football happens. But I think the biggest immediate impact, and you mentioned Sky Moore on Saturday, Justin Watson wasn't available. Matt Nagy mentioned yesterday Justin Watson will now, step up into that role. But like on the field, immediate impact benefactor, I think is Rashee Rice, because Hollywood, Rashee, making sure you're getting some targets to Xavier. Oh, by the way, Travis Kelce is there. You start to spread some things out. Without Hollywood, I think Mahomes looks more Kelce and Rashee Rice.
Well, he looked at him a lot on Saturday, and I don't know if that was a result of Hollywood not being out there or just he's comfortable with Rashee Rice. And even though he's been 1 year in the program, he's like the veteran coming back in the wide receiver room, right?
And even though he dropped the ball,
it was at his knees. Should have caught that one.
Yeah,
at his
absolutely
knees.
should have caught that one, no doubt. Catch the ball.
Catch the ball. You're maybe a little too upset from this preseason game number 1, Jason.
Yeah, I think calm down.
I'm just saying the first drive
Where's
ended.
his juice box?
The first drive ended because of a dropped pass.
I don't like
a year after we talked about drop passes.
Yeah, I know. This Dave Tobe voodoo doll you've got in here, okay?
I'm just saying.
A little much.
Is the drop pass in the room with us now?
But think of this. They dropped a lot of passes last year, and they won a Super Bowl.
That's a great point.
So
that's
they
it.
keep
Yeah.
dropping passes.
That's the reason they won.
That was the
correlation.
Reason. Correlation,
not causation.
Definitely correlation causation is the drop passes meant Super Bowl.
I mean, didn't he hear the wise coaching tips from Connor Embry about that he's in the NFL and he needs to catch the football?
Focus. And remember, you're in the
focus,
NFL.
And then, look it into his hands.
That was Connor Embry that said when he was asked about, coaching guys through drop passes. Just, they have to concentrate, look it in, and, just have to remind them, you guys are in the NFL for a reason.
Yeah. It's basically just catch it.
Does that mean you're in the NFL, you're good enough to do this, or you're in the NFL, you better catch this?
I think both.
Yeah. Both, yeah.
Or you're in the NFL, but you don't have to be.
You don't have to be.
If we find somebody that can catch it, we'll find somebody else that can catch the ball.
That stands for? Oh, yeah, National Football. No, not for long.
And then Kadarius Toney's like, I'm not going anywhere. I don't have to really do anything. I'm in the NFL. I'm going to be here forever. I don't have to do anything, and I'm going to make any team whatsoever.
Well, he has his rap career, or SoundCloud career to fall back on.
The Joker.
Right?
Yeah.
We all do.
Yes, absolutely. And his rap nickname.
Is he another Wheezy?
You know what? Then Caleb Williams next Thursday would have met Joker.
You know what?
Rap star.
Kadeezy.
I was going to say Breezy, but that's
Teasy.
Chris Brown.
No,
Breezy.
No, his name is Teasy because that's what he does with the athleticism and his talent to all these coaches and GMs all over the world about Kadarius Toney. Oh, it's just a little teasy. Oh, I'll give you a little taste here, a little taste there. Not going to give you. Oh, look, he picked up 10 yards after the catch. Ooh, he can be so good. He doesn't do anything else, but it's just a little tease.
And
when little teasy, Kadarius Toney.
And when he did the whole thing with his gloves, he just made it look so
he
easy.
He adjusted his gloves while he was catching the football.
But he made it look
Who does that?
easy.
Yeah, but then he didn't do it again, so there was a little bit of a teasy to his talents. Mike Florio, talking with the league about Rashee Rice, released a story yesterday, said the league statement on the matter about Rashee Rice that we are getting closer and closer to that September 5th. It is 3 weeks from tomorrow, so we are 22 days away we are Trent McDuffie days away.
I was going to go Rashawn Sheehy, but sure.
Rashawn Sheehy, yeah. Sheehy. Christian McCaffrey. There are a lot of 22s out there. Tim McCoy. There's a lot of
Taylor
22s
Swift.
out there. She's 13. Isn't her favorite number
I don't
13?
know about you, but I'm feeling 22.
She was feeling.
Oh, yeah, but her favorite number is 13.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I actually didn't know. You know what her favorite number is?
Everybody
You
does.
don't?
Wait, really? Is this a thing?
It's a very much a thing. Everybody
This is
knows.
a bit. You're doing a bit.
You're doing a bit.
You're the music guy.
Yeah.
I had no idea she had a favorite number. How would I know her favorite number?
How do you know anything about music? You just find out. It just
Yeah.
happens.
Same.
Drive in
Google.
a deep left
It's your
field
phone.
by Castellanos. It will be a home run. And so that'll make it a 4-0 ball game.
How do you not know that All the 87 and 13 things last year, I think
it equals 100.
It's a bit.
Yeah. So the league statement on the matter via an email from the league to Pro Football Talk to Mike Florio, quote, "We have been monitoring developments in the matter. Following the conclusion of the legal process, the NFL will review the matter under the personal conduct policy," in quote.
So it ain't happening to begin the season then.
That's right.
What's our next court date or legal proceeding in this?
The civil case that he's being sued is like December. But like people are going, well, December's the next case. In the civil part of it, but the civil part of it, the league doesn't care about.
Yeah.
They don't
And
care
that's
about the
first
developments
before the criminal?
The criminal could end at any time, right? If he pleads or, they go to a lesser charge or something. Like, in theory, it could end tomorrow. But even if it ended tomorrow, the NFL will then review everything. Like, I don't know if it would be in time for September 5th for them to make that decision. But, I mean, Matt Derrick has said throughout almost the entire offseason that September 5th he expects Rashee Rice to be out there playing aside from injury. And he thinks, if anything, a suspension is more likely to happen in the 2025 season, not 2024.
Yeah.
And I've said constantly how dumb he is.
To his face.
Yeah. I mean, and behind his back. And text to you guys.
But not about this, though.
Yeah, and then I've also said to his face how much I like him, right? But no, he's been spot on and in his read of the situation that I thought there was at least, and I still think there is a chance of Roger Goodell putting him on the commissioner's exempt list, that on September 5th, you're hanging a banner, you're starting the season, and you're starting the season talking about Rashee Rice, who's catching a football, and then that conversation is about Rashee Rice and the NFL, as opposed to they mention he's on the commissioner's exempt list and then they move on.
Yeah.
And they play the game.
I feel like that would be a big disservice to the Chiefs if you waited, to this point to put him on that list.
Yeah.
You've known the details
for sure
for a while now, right?
Yeah.
And you could have done this a long time ago.
But it's not unheard of. Like, what was it? Was it Willie Gay Jr.? Or was it Frank
That was
Clark?
those were middle season, but it wasn't commissioner exempt list.
But it was kind of randomly timed. Ezekiel Elliott's, I think, was also similarly commissioner's exempt list. If I'm not mistaken. But I'm with you.
Which you can do it if somebody's been charged with a felony. You can put them on the commissioner's exempt list, which Rashee Rice has been charged with, felony.
And I guess my wonder would be, well, this isn't getting taken care of anytime soon. The criminal process is gonna take a long time to play out. So if you put him on the commissioner's exempt list, how long is he on it for? Is it just until the trial finishes? Because that could be a year and a half, right? Like, this could be a long time. The NFL's in a weird spot.
Yeah, just
Rice
don't know.
and the Chiefs are in a weird spot.
There's
but-
just, I can't imagine a commissioner's exempt list happening, as you said, Mick, if it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
They've known the details to this. They could have put him on that list and said, when the whole thing plays out, then we'll go through what the unpaid suspension will look like. But for now, we're not even risking the matter of this not getting done legally before the season starts. They haven't gone that route. They're going to wait till this thing gets done.
And that's
then
fine.
Yeah,
That's fine with me.
that too.
We're in an instant gratification world, right, where we want results right away. That's not always going to happen, not always going to be the case. And so let this thing play out, figure it out with the real investigators, right, the real police, and whatever punishment comes down there, then react to that. It doesn't have to be this season, right? It doesn't have to be. It's innocent until proven guilty. We'll figure it out later. He can take his suspension later. I'm just fine with that.
Yeah, and Clark Hunt even said, a couple of weeks ago, or whenever he talked, maybe it was at the beginning of training camp, whatever that was, but saying that, well, typically the NFL, I'm paraphrasing here, but we're expecting the NFL that, their protocol is that the legal process plays out, and then they do their review of it, and then they decide on potential discipline. That's what we're expecting to happen here. And that's clearly what's happening with the email to Pro Football Talk of, we've been monitoring developments in the matter. Following the conclusion of the legal process, the NFL will review the matter under the personal conduct policy. What I'm looking forward to is on September 5th, people watching Rashee Rice out there playing and thinking that the only reason he's playing is because it's the Chiefs.
Yeah, and then they'll call KSHB.
And complain to you guys because Rashee Rice is on the field?
Yeah. Just make sure this thing doesn't get wrapped up around January 1st to where he starts serving that suspension then. Make sure it's the offseason.
At that point, then it might be we're not going to suspend him because he's on the Chiefs. We're not doing that. We'll wait till the season is over.
You wouldn't think so, yeah.
We'll wait till the season is
over. But,
over.
I mean, if it is wrapped up in October, do you think they would institute it that quick? Like, hey, your 4 games start right now.
They've done it already with Frank Clark and Willie Gay.
Yeah.
Middle seasons, they just said, hey, here's the suspension. It's going to be 6 games or 4 games or 2 games, whatever it might be, and then you start serving that suspension. So certainly I think there's a possibility. I think you get to a point of no return for the season as it gets later on. Like if it's into the 2025 calendar, you wait till the 2025 season before you do that. Instead of, here's a 5-game suspension, you're going to start serving it in the divisional round as the 1 seed Chiefs. You'll take care of 3 games, and then next year you'll serve the first 2.
Roger, we have a bye. Does that count as one of the weeks?
Can we appeal, and how long does the appeals process happen?
And that bye week between the championship game and the Super Bowl, can we count that as a week as well?
Raj says, hey, look, here, Clark. We're going to suspend him for 5 weeks, okay, starting immediately. The appeals process will take roughly a month and a half.
Yes.
So if you guys then appeal, there is no way we'll be able to
We'll
have
get back
this
to about
resolved.
February 20th. Does that work?
He will be able to play during the appeal. We good? All right.
I mean, we joke.
Rashee Rice has been suspended
that very
immediately
thing might happen.
for 8 games. Chiefs are appealing. The appeals process is going to take a while, roughly until like February 12th.
I mean, they want to punish
at least February 12th.
They want to punish these guys, but they also want their stars playing in the playoffs.
It's also a TV show.
It's also a TV show.
It's a business. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. The Olympics is also a business. Should the United States and Jordan Childs be in the business of giving things back? I want to get Mick Schaefer's thoughts on that coming up next. Dylan Michaels, Mick Schaefer, KSHB 41 sports director, hanging out with us.
The Tom Tom.
Is that in Star Wars, Tom Tom?
Well, the tom drum, the right on like the trap set of the drum kit, right? They have the ride symbol kind of above it.
Yeah, trap set. I do those on Tuesdays,
set,
Thursdays.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yep. Sports Radio 810's NFL
hi-hat
season
is like
preview.
above the snare. That's what you hit a lot of the times.
Oh,
And
like
then-
a hi-hat and a souped-up
and then
tempo?
you have the crash symbol.
I'm on a roll. Hey, guys,
Like
sit this
Cottonelle.
one out. Time to go
It's
solo.
time to go trio here.
Sports Radio 810's 2024 NFL season preview and Super Bowl Champions Collector's Edition magazine available now. Where, you ask? I'll tell you. It's available now for free at all Henhouse and Central Bank locations, Westlake hardware stores, Hollywood Casino, Greenlight dispensaries, Pizza Shuffle, and all the remotes that we have this month. So you can pick up your copy today. I'll be out at Mod Pizza a week from tomorrow, getting ready for the Chiefs' final preseason game, which is a week from tomorrow. They'll be giving out, not giving out, but I mean, well, if you buy one pizza, they'll give you one for free. So technically, they're giving out pizzas. Buy one, get one free. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810. We'll be there at Mod Pizza in Lenexa next week. And we'll have some of these 2024 NFL season preview Super Bowl Champions Collector's Edition
We've been there
magazines
before.
It's
Mod
nice.
Pizza.
Yeah. It won't be on the air, though. It'll be from 4 to 6 that I'll be out there. Sorry about that, guys.
okay.
You can stop by, though. Feel free to stop
Still
by.
can. Okay,
yeah,
good.
on your way to work. You know, typically you get into work
You
around, what,
work
5:30?
past 2 o'clock? Look at this guy.
You typically get into
Company
work
man.
around 5:30?
What's that?
You typically get into work around 5:30 for your sports report and everything, so that's what time?
Some days during the summer. No.
Okay. Well, because I get to work around 9:55.
Yeah, that's
Typically
how it
is
works.
what-
Yes.
Up here's like
What's-
10:04.
What's your schedule there? You get to work around 9:45, 9.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's
that's
how it
right.
works.
Just
That's how it
I
works.
I scream right on in and sit down, and I just talk sports for 4 hours. That's what we do, and then I'm done, and then I go home and do nothing
that
the
thing
rest
has
of the time.
no prep on it. That
I actually
thick
just
packet of
scribble stuff
paper.
the whole time at
Yeah.
home while I'm watching movies and not any sports.
And he just loves it. All it is scribble for the very end of the show. When
Yes.
he just rips it up and
Just
crumples it so you can hear
doodle.
it on the air.
I just doodle.
And that'll do it. And he
just doodle
crumples
the
it,
whole
yeah.
time. You know what they say? People that doodle are smarter. I don't doodle, though.
Have you kept
I
like
own a
all
doodle.
your
Every one of 'em.
notepads from all your time hosting shows?
Every one of
That's cool. You have a file cabinet back home. What do you do?
It's just in boxes.
Boxes,
Just
nice.
in some
Do you
boxes.
actually?
Do you ever
That's
go
good
back?
I
firewood.
actually
That's awesome.
do have
That's cool.
all of them. Yeah, I got that from Seren. Seren has every single one of his.
Does
He
he
does the
really?
same deal, yeah.
One
And
of
it's
his-
one page per day, right?
I do 2 pages per day.
Oh, you
'Cause
do?
I do twice the prep work as a No, his is so much more organized on one page. I can't do it. It's way too organized on one page for me. So the notes for my guests are on the second page. Like everything that I'm going to be talking about and sort of topics on the first page. guests that I have on the second page, I'll make the notes for them
What
there.
page is this conversation on?
This is on page 7.
He scripted it out.
Yeah,
last
this
night.
was I doodled it right out of there. Jordan Childs, the Olympics want her to give back her bronze medal, and I hope Jordan Childs gives them a one-finger salute. Actually, you know what?
Come
Two.
get it.
Yeah, come get it. Out of my cold, dead hands. And you know why they're cold? Because I'm holding a bronze medal. So it's a little bit colder of a medal there. That's why they're cold. No way I'm giving that. What are they going to have a search warrant?
This
They're
is
gonna
unprecedented.
come
The
to
only
the
other time
house?
it's happened is for cheating, right? She
Right,
did
yes.
nothing wrong. They messed it up.
We did
Give
nothing
them-
wrong. He did nothing wrong. What
Give
did we
them
do
both
wrong?
the bronze medal.
Yes, we did.
It's not hard. Give
We
them
were
both the
supposed
bronze
to.
medal. She had her moment on the stand. It was kind of iconic, right? That was the time when they were looking at the number one, the gold medal winner, and kind of like, we're not worthy. That was a great photo.
But the only reason she won that is because she was black.
They've shared.
I've seen that on
What?
Twitter.
What?
I've seen it on Twitter, right? Isn't
What?
that what it was?
I
That
know
the
we're
only reason
going
she did it?
there.
So they could have that photo shoot. You haven't seen that conspiracy theory out there?
What are you talking about?
You literally haven't seen the conspiracy theory out there. That the only reason they changed that is because, like, oh, wait, we could have an all-black podium. Let's switch the score so we can put her up there.
What?
You haven't seen that? Oh, you don't know what's going on in today's world there,
I don't.
Sterling? You know that
I know
surprises
J.J.
you?
McCarthy's missing season with surgery. I know
That's
that.
true. That's
But-
true. But I mean, the whole thing is like, well, the Romanian girl earned it. No, actually, Jordan Childs earned it. Like, she's the one that earned the score. The judge misscored the difficulty by 1/10 of a point, which is why the United States appealed, is because the difficulty was 1/10 of a point lower than what it should have been. On the appeal, they said, oops, you're right. We miscalculated the difficulty score. We're going to give her the score she earned, which puts her into third place. The review was the technicality of being 4 seconds late. So Jordan Childs is the one who
and the U.S.
actually
They say
earned
they
it.
have video evidence of us turning it in 47 seconds afterward.
Right, 47 seconds, and the IOC is saying they will not hear that appeal. That this is our final ruling. If you have video evidence, it doesn't matter now. But you have video evidence of us. Our ruling stands.
Are there more corrupt organizations in the world, and I'm including the mafia, than world sports organizations, hashtag FIFA, hashtag IOC?
I was going to say FIFA. Yeah, FIFA was mine.
Well, it's like here's the timing of the whole thing. You were 4 seconds late. So we're going to wait 5 days to take that bronze away.
Yeah.
Because you were 4 seconds late. And also, we find out they
Well,
weren't
messed
4
up.
seconds late.
Right. So they messed up twice.
Yes.
Right? With the scoring and with whether or not they either mistimed the appeal or they didn't notice at the time they were 4 seconds late. That's two mistakes right there.
And the United States didn't know they would
They
lose
put her
the
on
appeal.
they put her on the podium.
The United States didn't know they would lose the appeal on the technicality of the 4 seconds. So after they got the appeal ruling back is when they went and found the video evidence and said, no, actually, look, there's 47 seconds. There's on video us turning it in. And then, oh, sorry, we've already made our ruling. Well, you didn't tell us that the ruling was because we were late until the ruling came out. You weren't discussing whether or not it was on time to then say, hey, we believe you turned in this ruling late. So unless you can come up with video evidence to show, we're going to reverse this score. No, we've made our ruling and you were late. No, we weren't. Too bad.
Also, you're right. Just give them both bronze. It doesn't affect anything.
Give 'em
United
both
States
bronze.
won in medal count. They tied China in gold.
They're clearly doing it to save face, right? Because the camera was on the Romanian girl, and she was so happy. And I feel horrible for that girl, right?
Horrible for her.
And they've shared medals before.
Yes. So why
They've
not just share
do
the
it.
bronze?
I mean, that is. I get you might have pushback from both sides, but it is a better solution than saying, Jordan, you got to give that one medal back to us so we can then give it to her. Unless they ordered the exact right number of medals. Like we have no more.
Yeah, they have no more medals.
5,294 medals. We didn't get at 5,295th.
Also,
Sorry,
nobody cares about
we tore down the entire Eiffel Tower to get a little piece in every medal. There's no more Eiffel Tower.
Well, nobody cares about the Romanian gymnast that finished 4th. So Jordan Childs finished 5th. And then when they adjusted the score of what it should have been, she was bumped up to 3rd. The Romanian gymnast that finished behind the other gymnast that they want to give the bronze medal to had the same exact score.
Yeah, that's a good
They had the
point.
same exact score. But she lost on a technicality because the difficulty score of the girl who finished 3rd was higher. Well, no, they had the same exact score. Why don't you give them both? Nope, sorry, there's a technicality here. Well, there's a lot of technicalities for this one gymnast who earned the exact same score as her teammate and then earned a score that was less than Jordan Childs, yet she's the one causing the biggest stink of the whole thing is to award her the bronze medal. She's one of the least deserving of to have the only bronze. Like, if there was somebody that had the only bronze, it shouldn't be her. Sorry.
No, and I can promise you, if it was the other way around, we would not be doing all this. It would be closed case shut. It was our problem. We apologize to the country of Romania, and here's your bronze medal. There would be no...
Well, in Romania's defense, their appeal also said they would like both to receive the bronze medal.
That's Shout awesome. Out Romania.
So Romania even said that they do not want Jordan Childs to lose her bronze medal. They both deserve the bronze. We are asking for you to look at the review of this and award our gymnast with a bronze medal as well.
Yeah. This is a mess up on the IOC, right?
Yes.
So
on the original judges.
Yes, the natural response is to not punish either country for your mistake.
Yes. The mess up is on the original judges that calculated it wrong, which is why the Americans appealed and said, no, the difficulty score is a 10th lower than what it should be. And they went, oops, you're right. We're going to change that score to what it should have been originally.
I knew I liked Romania. I just knew I liked him.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they're like, look, I mean, Jordan had her moment on the podium.
Yeah.
She got the medal right there. We don't want that to take any part of that away. No. Just give our girl one,
right? She also deserves one here that we feel like she earned this. So we are appealing the appeal. And they didn't, I don't think they appealed the appeal by saying, ooh, we had a stopwatch and it was 4 seconds too late. They were just like, no, we want to actually have you look further into this to see if the difficulty score was calculated incorrectly and then correctly, because you changed it pretty quickly. So, I mean, we're talking about like 3 minutes from the score being posted for Jordan Childs finishing 5th to then Jordan Childs and Simone Biles going crazy. It was like 3 minutes later.
When does that clock start? Is it once the score is posted? I would think so.
Yeah.
Or is it before that, and maybe that's the discrepancy in the minute 4 or the 47 seconds?
Well, either one. The United States says they have video evidence of it being under the minute. So, but the IOC is like, look, we've already messed up twice. We're not going to redo this.
But I wonder if like they're starting it from like scores were in here. It took 15 seconds to put them up on the board. And maybe that's the difference between, what
took you 49 seconds.
Yeah, but we didn't see it till it was on the board.
It's probably what it is. Some sort of technicality to the technicality that was already off because of a technicality.
Yeah, they've had a banner Olympics because they also had to literally do a ceremony for Winter Olympics gold medalists. Nathan Chen was one of them that they were not doing as good a testing on certain athletes from certain countries in the Winter Olympics at the last one. So they had to actually call out like second place and third place, everyone who basically was bumped up, and they had a podium. And
that's the annoying part of the whole thing is like what Mick said. They take medals away for doping scandals and cheating. Not because the IOC messed up twice.
Screwed up.
Yeah.
They screwed up twice. They screwed up in the original ruling. Then they screwed up in saying you were 4 seconds late when the United States is now offering video evidence that they, in fact, were not late.
Well, just give them one of the medals. If they're out of medals, give them one of the ones from a previous Olympic where that got stripped for doping.
Sure.
And then it might
this
be
is from Seoul.
Atlanta.
Okay.
Here's an 1996 Atlanta bronze to the Romanians.
The good thing is it's a silver, but that's the only one we had in the box. So you can have it.
So congratulations.
It's Instacart. We don't have it. We're going to upgrade it for free. You got a silver.
It was like 28 years ago, so it's the size of a nickel, right? They've gotten a lot bigger, haven't they?
Also,
but it's yours.
They have to have so many extra ones because they don't know how many of, like the track and field, how many different relay runners are going to be in the preliminaries. Like the 16-year-old.
They have extra medals. I'm joking.
Right. I know, but I'm saying like the 16-year-old for the United States ran the 4x4 in the prelims. And got a gold medal.
I didn't know that happened, by the way.
Even though, that 16-year-old gets to head back to Baltimore with a freaking gold medal.
One of the best tweets after that was like he showed it. He's like, if I'm going back to high school after this, I'm parking in the principal's spot.
Yep.
All year long.
He had a great tweet.
There were a couple of good tweets from gold medalists. Tyrese Halliburton had a phenomenal
That was
tweet.
great.
Yeah.
It's a great one. And we've all been there. That person that doesn't do anything and still gets the same
If
grade.
she just waits, roughly 20 years like Reggie Bush did,
That's right.
she can get it back.
She'll get, I swear, they better not take her Heisman, too. She gets to keep her Heisman, damn it.
right, Sterling?
Yeah,
Like,
seriously.
Sterling's not going to be here. Is that who you're talking about? Sterling won't
you're
going to
be
Friday?
Well, he
No,
missed
only-
he missed the last two. Then I missed this. We take Fridays off.
I don't know if you're listening. I'm sure you were. We decided you were part of Gen Z, and you're quiet quitting, just not showing up.
Yeah, it's a quiet quit.
It's
I
a
don't
quiet
know
quit.
the last time I took
It's
like a
a-
full week off.
It's a Q
though.
squared.
That's the thing. Is like a full week like vacation. I think was when we went to Disney World in March of 23.
When was the last time I
When was
took
the last
a full
time I
week
took a
off?
full week? I don't know. You just started working here 5 minutes ago, so I have no idea. Ask your mom.
Ask your mom. I'll ask her later.
I don't know. It's not Briscoe's mom. Come on
Friends with
now.
her?
Don't discriminate.
You're friends with her?
I know. I've never met her.
Oh.
I
Big
think
fan,
I've
though, growing
heard
up.
her voice.
I was gonna
right?
say big
Yes.
fan growing up. It was on in the car. I know that. I always thought, man, if I could work with her son,
Just want to
that
work
would
with
be
one of her relatives.
the
Gosh.
dream. If I could just be close to her by proxy,
Congratulations.
like 1 degree of Kevin Bacon.
You're
How could I
so
do that?
welcome, Jason.
Thank
You're
you.
so welcome.
Thank you. I typically am at a lot of people's houses. They're like, you know what, welcome. So thank you, Sterling. That's very.
I just
very
try
kind
and
of you.
brighten your day.
Oh, see, how about that? You like sunshine cookies. Just brighten everybody's day. You know, that's what you are. Mick, thank you for coming in and brightening our day.
I'll be here Friday.
Yes.
Whoever's hit, maybe if it's just Dylan and me, we'll get it done.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Now, God help us all if that.
We're like, just replay Thursday's show.
Fly ball caught. Dynamite drop in, Dylan. Broadcast school really paying off for you.